where I'd like for us to start this morning is I'd like to get some feedback from you on your either appointment last night or your evaluation, all the good things. So I have had an opportunity to read every evaluation that was sent to me, and because I'm in the corporate office this week, I've gotten some side discussions as well on several. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So whether you had an evaluation with one of the ops coaches or you had an evaluation with one of your with your franchise owner or another DA in your business, I'd like to hear how that went from your perspective. What did you pick up yesterday during that evaluation that maybe you hadn't heard before, maybe you hadn't seen before? And I'll tell you, part of the reason I do this is because, you know, you're getting feedback now from different people, and I'd love for others to learn some of the stuff that you learned. So, Nikki, I'll start with you. Since we had Billy Strings on the radio this morning, let's start with you. And how did your evaluation go? What were some of your big takeaways from that evaluation yesterday?
I felt that learning how to transition with some solid, simple transitions from slide to slide recommended by Joe was really helpful to me and Robin. And that's that helped me a lot, just seeing how, and he role played with us and showed us and then gave us the PowerPoint that you all have in the resource library to look at the transitions, and that was helpful for me.
Nice. Eric Gibbs, how about you?
Yeah, we had a lot come out of ours. I think that the biggest thing with me is true to form. I can talk, but I need to listen, and I need to be able to ask the questions. I got to remember that I'm not there to just shoot the breeze with somebody. I'm there to solve their problems, and ask the questions that are going to get me to getting the right product so they can fall in love with it, so I can close the deal and we can make some money and everybody's happy. So
nice. Listen more. You know what they say, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in that ratio.
Yeah, good. I forget that a lot.
Nate.
Hey guys, so it really kind of falls into 2 areas that, you know, it identified that I really need to improve on. First being, you know, really having a better grasp of the product that we have in the mobile showroom, you know, really being able to, you know, not fumble around as much to figure out where, you know, what's where and how do I get to it and things like that. And then, you know, the other part would be really as we go through that walk of life, we're uncovering, you know, and trying to redirect those objections or whatever it may be. I need practice. I need repetition. I need more of it just to help it flow better. The flow sometimes felt a little clunky, and, you know, it's an opportunity to just continue to practice more.
Nice. Mark, how about you?
Yeah, I felt I identified probably steps 4, 7, and 8. So the company story, the pre-close, and the close are something that I really want to focus on getting better at. I felt pretty good with the warm up and the product presentation, the other steps. So want to focus on that moving forward.
Good. Patrick.
Yeah, I think it's just continuing to get a little better and bridge the gap between not trying to think of the process as a process as much as just being organic and catering to the customer, like on site, asking questions, being really engaged, listening, of course, and then just not being so robotic with it, if that makes sense.
Nice. I like that. Rosa. Nope, not yet.
Now, what do I know?
That's it.
Yay,
That's it.
we're getting better. Mine would honestly be not getting so nervous with the company's story. I tend to overdo it, and it's just not so necessary. So making it flow better and being more confident as I do that.
Nice. All right, let's see. Jeff and Carrie.
I was once again the customer, and I'm probably the type of person that would tell you, you know what, I Googled you, I already know, you don't need to take the time to go through that. I didn't do that yesterday, but I did appreciate adding the personal things. Really allowed me not to even say anything about don't bother. I already, I know this. So the personal surprised me by how important it is.
Nice.
I think from my side, I failed to bring the customer's warm-up information into the early slides. And after I got about halfway through, I started to panic about the fact that I hadn't worked anything in yet. So I was trying to find a place to drop certain information. So learning for me is try to work it in early so that it's not all banged up towards the end.
Good. I like that. Yep. Get it in early. I like it. Roger and Alondra.
Well, for me, what I understood about the talk with Grant is that in the warm up, just be yourself, be natural, and I mean, like the talk's going to flow. So
yeah, and even if it doesn't, what Grant told us was kind of respect the client. If the client doesn't want to talk too much, so do not try to push it to try to ask questions if it's getting weird, like just go slow. And if the client doesn't want to talk anymore, just move to the questions
Okay.
about the floors.
Good. All right. So I actually had a chance to talk to Grant this morning. What did he do with you different yesterday?
Yeah, he did something different. Actually, it was great. So with the company story, I at first did it in English, which I was very nervous and kind of hesitant and panicking, and I didn't know what to say in some slides. But at the end, he told me like, okay, you're gonna do this again, but in Spanish, even though I don't understand anything of what you're saying. So I did it again in Spanish. It went better, and he said, "You see, that's how you have to do it. Now do it in English." Like,
Yeah.
go with it.
What Grant told me was when you did it in Spanish, and I'm going to get John to weigh in on this too, because I know he was in there with you. When you did it in Spanish, he said you could see it. Her shoulders were back, her head was lifted, everything was good. I mean, it's like all the confidence in the world was right there. And you just got to bring that confidence. I love it. John, what was your experience with that yesterday? And what was your big takeaway?
Just to go back to Alondra's thing, she was nervous when it came to the English portion of it, but when she presented in Spanish, it did flow real well. I think it's just a language where she felt a little nervous because going through the English language, but when it came to doing it in Spanish, it did really flow well, flow a lot better, more confident, like Grant said. As for myself, Grant, I'm pretty much the same thing as Roger and Alondra. The transitioning on the warm up is when I did the presentation with Grant, I was trying to figure out ways to loop back around so it would smoothly transition into the flooring. But he said when the conversation is about to go dead, just go straight into the flooring, and how to transition straight into it. And Grant also stated that I put a lot of time on certain slides. He said, don't take time, just get to certain points and move on. Because if not, you're going to be dwelling on that slide for so long, the client's going to be uninterested anymore,
Good. Good. I like it. And Alondra, entonces vamos a hablar en español por todo el día. Cada día.
Me encanta. Wow, Arlan.
Perfect.
I love that.
You never knew. You never knew. Sorry, John, I can't do Cantonese. It's just, I don't know.
Grant asked me the same question. I said, there's certain words I don't even know how to say it in Chinese, so I'm not even going to bother.
Perfect. Let's see, Jen Hein.
gonna say muy bueno, Arlen. So I learned a couple of things, Alondra, with being in Texas for 14 years. So but I had the odd situation, I'm sure Arlen read it, that I got sent out by myself. It's just like going for an appointment yesterday, but it wasn't, she was a repeat customer. So it was a very odd situation. Arlen, I had no clue about, well, how do I really rate myself on stuff that I felt like I didn't have to do? But I went ahead and took the opportunity and I was like, okay, I'm going to go through certain parts and see what happened. And I mean, just sweet lady, but same point in time, I was trying to be, says, how do I be critical? It's just like going of myself. And I ended up saying, I would think my biggest foible was maybe just like the customer was just wanting to chat it up. And it was like, okay, it's just like, oh, so it was restricting it back to like talking more about the flooring. And so I was interjecting little things as I could and interjecting product knowledge as I knew it. It's just like, and so it was kind of a, I would call it a good mini appointment.
There you go. All right, good. Sandra.
I think my biggest takeaway from like the last few sessions is to not sound so scripted. So basically to relax, and I'm hoping that comes with the practice and getting comfortable with the entire steps. So.
Well, Cassandra told me that, my gosh, what a difference a day makes. She's like, so much better the second day. I'm like, yeah, I mean, look, that's what we do. That's why we practice, right? That's why we do this. Good.
A long way to go, but yeah, thank you.
Jenny Carter.
Hey, good morning. I'm going to have to kind of go with Nate. The samples to me is still kind of a conundrum. And I feel it's like, for me, I'm like in paralysis mode because I want to make sure I'm pulling right things or talking about the right options for customers and things of that nature. So just becoming more comfortable with all the different things that we can do in the products and try to get it as streamlined as much as possible.
Can I, I'm going to take a little detour here. Can I give you a little piece of advice with that?
Mm-hmm.
Have you secret shopped any of your competitors?
No, not as of yet. Mm-mm.
Okay. So secret shop anybody that actually comes to your house. So, I mean, the Home Depots and the big box stores, that's fine, but I'm really more interested in secret shop somebody that comes to your house. If you have an Empire, if you have a 50 floor, if you have a door-to-door, some of these other companies that do come to your house, secret shop them. One of the things that you're going to find is that most of them show up with only 3 or 4 boards. You've got 3,000 samples in the van. You've got 145 boards out there, and most of your competitors are going to show up with 3 or 4 boards. That's it. So what does that tell me? Well, that tells me we probably have too much stuff in the van. We really like giving the customer options and having a lot of different things to choose from. But at the end of the day, it's not about, your competitors are not there trying to find the perfect color gray to go with this or whatever. They're just trying to find a solution that'll work for the customer. And so I think sometimes we get carried away with, I've got to know, 42 different fabs on every product board that's out there, and you really don't. It's not that complicated. And certainly, I mean, I know that we bring a better experience than our competitors. And so we do operate at a different level of a different standard. But if you secret shop your competitors and really see what they're doing, then you'll go out to your van and you'll say, why in the world do I have all this stuff out here? Instead of trying to pack more in, you'll be figuring out how to take stuff out.
Gotcha. Okay, good thought. I'll get that right onto that then. That's
good. Blake.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. So it comes more naturally to me to personalize the company story slides than to kind of tell someone else's story of what's the content on those slides, right? So I just need some work on that. And the big takeaway for me was to help do so was to work on the transitions, not necessarily the content of the slides themselves. And then secondarily, a good tip that I got from Savannah, Jeff, and Carrie was to get the timing down. Jeff has a target to get about 5 minutes of the company story. And Savannah recommended when you get to the direct versus easy, happy, build it, that you can really accelerate, through that section and take some time off the back end.
Nice. Let's see, Eric Chen.
Hi, so one big thing I learned is not to assume that they know what they don't know. There are times, so I obviously with my wife last night, she's not flooring expert, let's put it that way. There are things that I just take for granted that seem like common sense to me that don't seem common sense to her. And so she doesn't even know certain things that might even come up. She doesn't know what questions to ask sometimes. And so don't just assume that, oh, I've answered all the questions of my customer. I've dealt with all of the potential issues there and just move on from that, because there are things that they may not realize that are going to be problems.
Yeah, and your customers don't know either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Good. Let's see, who are we missing? Aaron.
Yeah, I think for me is just I realize I can kind of ad lib and just get to know the person really easy, but when it comes to gathering the specific information I need to get the right carpet, and I have some work to do. I haven't, specifically gone out to the van in these calls to go choose the carpet, but I was thinking of man, I would feel inadequate of choosing their specific carpet after I finish those calls. And so want to make sure I clean up that a little bit.
Got it. Jen Reichel.
Arlen, is it okay if I give a little advice on the pick-in from what
Yes,
I learned over the last 2.5 months? So
please.
In Salesforce, you have that price list, and I exported it, and then I printed each category. And then I went to my van and I checked off what I actually had. I don't know if y'all can see this. It seems to just be blurring it out. But anyway, it exports into an Excel file, and then you can sort it by price. And then I went to my van and I checked off the boards that I actually have in my van that are on the list. And then I highlighted the crushers. I highlighted ones that I like, and then I have a whole lot better sense of what's in the van, what I know. And then I can reference this list if they're looking for something with a higher millimeter. I mean, it doesn't usually get into that kind of detail, but I was really struggling with trying to pull 3 different price points and having no clue, because the price groups can be pretty wide range. So just looking, and the Boardwalk boards can sometimes be more expensive than the Meridian or whatever. So that helped me a lot. And then it just helped me get a better sense of what was in there. I brought all the boards into my house. I organized them, I spent some time with them. So it was really helpful. And now I have a whole lot better sense of what's in there. And then I found that I have a lot of boards that are in my truck that aren't even on the list. So then that was a little confusing. And so I had to figure out pricing on those. And so, but that helped a lot. Good advice. As far as my call, I didn't get to go on another one yesterday because I was hosting a networking thing, but from the one that I did on Tuesday, I'm still reflecting on it. And I just need to really slow down too and not feel so rushed, ask more questions in the beginning to uncover more details from them. I noticed that people give a lot of information, and once they've said something, then I kind of just roll off of that and then don't dig a little deeper. So trying to dig deeper. Another thing that I did, and this was a guy that I had quoted last week, and then he called me with questions, and I noticed that I maybe don't know the answer right away. And it might be something they just want to state. He was like, what are transition strips, or what, why is this cost on here? And I found myself feeling like he thought that was a high price. So now I'm saying, well, let me just double check on that, instead of just being like, it's a transition strip, you need them in these areas, and that's what it is. So then I end up creating more work for myself when I get off the phone, and I'm like, he probably really didn't even care about that. He just wanted an answer. So I'm really trying to stop myself from doing that as well. And then on the one Tuesday, it was a big job and a lot of rooms, and I'll be honest and tell myself we don't have our reference list together yet. So then I feel real anxious in that time, okay, just hang out for the next 30 minutes, whatever it is that it takes me to measure all this, and then I'll be back around. So
Okay.
even if I had a reference list, I don't think it would take them that long to look at it.
No, it won't take them 30 minutes, but at least it gives them something to start doing, right?
Right. So,
So one little tip for you when it comes to follow-up, if you have that guy that calls asking about transition strips or whatever, that's gold. That's actually gold. And what I would use that for is to get back in the house. So I'd love to go through transition strips with you. I've got several samples. They're not the color that we're looking at, but just to show you what different shapes are. Would it be okay for me to swing by tomorrow evening and let me show you these? Because what you'll find is if you don't close in the home, if you don't close on the day in the home, if you can get back into the home, if you can show up for a second visit, you've got about a 90% chance of closing the sale on the second visit. And it makes sense. First of all, they're still very interested in you. Otherwise, they wouldn't let you back in the house, right? So and they haven't chosen somebody else yet. So if you can use whatever excuse you can use, and this is one where he's just giving it to you as a softball. If you can use that as an excuse to get back into the house and be prepared to show them the transitions and whatever else and flip the price and show them the price in the home where you can now have the discussion, you have a much better chance of landing the sale.
okay.
There are some franchisees, and I don't recommend this, but it works for them. There are some franchisees that have modified their sales system to be all about landing on the second visit. I don't particularly care for that because it builds in an incredible inefficiency. Now I've got to do twice as many visits to land sales. But excuse me, but it works for them. They go into the house on the first visit and they do a bunch of stuff, but they just want to keep the customer, on the line and set up a follow-up visit. And then they land the job on the follow-up visit. So anyway, just keep that in mind. If you have any excuse that you can get back into a house, you've got a much better shot of landing that sale.
I wonder what their overall close rate is if it ends up being higher.
I would say not necessarily. Because there's franchisees out there that have an incredibly high one-call close rate. And not just franchisees, design associates as well, that have incredibly high one-call close rates. And what you will find is people that have a really, really high one-call close rate really suck at doing follow-up because they just don't need it, so they don't do it, right? And I'll be honest, that's where I was. I had a really good close rate in the home on the first shot. So my follow-up game was pitiful. It really was. I mean, if I could roll back time and do something different, I would have figured out how to have a stronger follow-up game from day one. Good. Ryan.
Got me?
Yes, sir.
Hello,
So
hello.
what was your biggest takeaway from your assessment yesterday afternoon?
Just going through the steps as it's new, as I do have experience, it's hard to get, I think Patrick said it earlier, sometimes when you're trying to stay with the steps, it can kind of get confusion where you're not speaking, 100% clear and confident as we're learning. Sometimes I just got a little stumped or trying to say in my head, I had to go to this one, or I need to go to this one. But overall, I think how it's done, as long as you show confidence and that type of stuff. And your comment yesterday, which I loved, was that you want to be short and sweet. I think your comment was like, be very knowledgeable and then be short.
Yep.
So that's a very, I took that for granted. Be a very professional, say it real, not say it fast, but be quick to the cue and then shut up.
There you go. Good. Jeremy.
Yesterday was really good for me. Jackie helped out quite a bit in the transition. Some of the slides I kind of had trouble speaking to, so the presentation kind of got a little fumbled up. But what I keep trying to have to work on myself is just slowing down and just speaking to it, not going on trying to hit my list of objectives and statements. But it's going through a lot better than it was, and each time we go through it, I feel better and better.
Good. All right. How about Robin?
Yeah, same thing here, going over and over again, plus focusing on simple transitions when you're going through the slides, so you're not getting stuck and you feel like you're winging every slide. So it's just a smooth from one slide to the next, to stick to a conversation. That was my takeaway yesterday.
Good. Amy.
My takeaway is not actually a shock. I have too many words. So what I was saying got lost in the amount of words that I have. So I need to slow down and say less.
Look at that. And you're already practicing it. Look at that. I love it. Jonathan.
So definitely an improvement in delivery and comfort yesterday from the previous day. I need to, work on being less dependent on the script. I found that the setup call was effective. I was able to get a lot of information up front that I was able to use later when I met with the customer. But I need to be, so I was pretty direct, and I think the feedback that I got was direct and efficient, but I need to be more excited and engaging. So I need to work on that, but overall it was positive.
Good. Good. Who are we missing? So Tyler, I don't know if you feel well enough to be able to speak to the group.
Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm feeling a bit under the weather today, so I might not be as vocal as usual. But my main takeaways is that I did forget a few things that were important. I didn't get like a direct objection. I had a pretty good idea it was price, but I didn't like really dig into it. And I forgot to sell the reference list. Actually, I didn't really forget. I made a conscious decision because it was a very small job, so that but I also didn't do the reviews. So that's something I got to work on. And it really, the crux of everything is just comfortability. And I need to just get more comfortable in the whole process, so it becomes second nature and I'm not in my head the whole time.
Nice. Nicely done. Okay. So today, let's go to the board for just a moment. We won't stay back here very long. All right, so I want to pull. Yesterday, we spent a considerable amount of time walking through this this notion of. Yesterday, we spent a considerable amount of time walking through the notion that we're going to pick up information in the company's in the warm-up. We're going to pick up a bunch of information here in the warm-up, and then we're going to use that information when we get to the company story, right? And so I tried yesterday to tie those two things together. How do you use the warm-up in an effective way to really have an impact on your company story and to get personal information from somebody to really change the company story? And then, of course, getting your objection and putting that in. Similar today, among some other small things, the big thing that I want us to land today is the connection between step 2, step 6, and step 8. I've even heard it, in a very high level way. Step 2 plus a good step 6 equals a great 8. So what is step two? Step two, I'm trying to figure out what's the current subfloor. I'm trying to figure out what we got to move. I'm trying to figure out all that technical stuff. But in step two, what is it that what is the information I need from the customer in step two?
Look, feel, durability.
That's it. How do you want your new floor to look? How do you want it to feel? How do you want it to last? Okay. So you're really trying in step two, you're trying to get enough information from the customer that you can solve the problem. You're not necessarily solving the problem in step two, but you're getting the information from the customer to be able to solve the problem. Okay. So then in step six, it's the I chose statement. I chose this product for you because you said. Now that might be, I chose this product for you because you said you wanted something that looked like a very natural hardwood floor. I chose this product for you because you said you wanted it to look like a particular color, right? I chose this product because you said you wanted a gray beige combination. All right, great. Or I chose this product for you because you said you wanted it to feel soft and cushy underfoot. Or I chose this product for you because you said you wanted it to feel, you wanted a hardwood floor that felt like it had some texture. Okay. Or when it comes to durability, now you might get into more of the fabs. I chose this product for you because you said that this was a product going into a wet area and you wanted something that was waterproof. Or you said that you wanted a product that would stand up to the rigors of 3-year-old kids running around here on tricycles. Or you said that you're only going to be in the house for another 6 months and you're just really trying to get rid of the, you're just trying to make the house look better so that you can get it ready to sell. Okay. So this I chose statement comes back to what you learned in step two. Well, if you do a good step two, and you really understand what the customer is looking for, and then you present that product in step six, oh my gosh, it makes step 8 so much better, because now you've got a product that the customer actually loves. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm going to share with you, you guys have seen this before. This isn't new. I'm going to share this with you quickly. I like to move quickly through things that you've already seen. I don't want to waste time. You guys have seen this before. The step 2 question sheet that I've sent you guys before. So when we look at this sheet, step 2 questions, that first question, what is it that you're looking to accomplish? What is that question designed to do? What's sort of the reason behind that question? What are we trying to get at here?
We'll get more specifics from the customer on what kind of flooring they're looking for and for what reason. Just like you said, for either quick and dirty, wanting to sell, or I want this to last long.
Okay. Okay. What else? What else does this question do?
Hopefully it uncovers the most important thing that they want.
Okay, explain that, Blake.
Right, so like out of texture, visual, and durability, one of those might be the most important to them, right? And so if you ask a question like this a little more open-ended, hopefully it surfaces the most important thing of the features that you need to solve for them.
Nice. Okay, good. So when I look at that question, I see a question that's a high-level visualization question. It's a high-level, not necessarily even specific to the floor, but what are you trying to accomplish with this space? In other words, you walk into a bedroom. Well, what are you trying to accomplish with this space? And then the homeowner opens up and says, well, I'm getting rid of the bed. I'm going to convert this into a home office. Or maybe it's been a home office and now I'm converting it back into a bedroom. Or you walk into a room and the customer says, well, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to create a media room here, and I'm going to put some seating on this side. I'm going to put a big screen TV on this side. So this is helping the customer paint a big picture for you of what they want to do with the space. This is supposed to be a visualization question for the customer to be able to help you see what it is that they want to do with the room. Okay. All right. So who knows? Maybe the customer is going to make a media room. Maybe they're going to make an office. Maybe they're going to make a bedroom. Maybe it is a bedroom and it's going to stay a bedroom. Okay, that's great. So it might not be that what they're trying to accomplish is that they're changing the space. It might be that, well, you know, we've had this builder grade carpet in here for 20 years and I'm really just wanting to make it look better. Okay. It might be that what you uncover here is, and maybe you found this out in the warm up, maybe it's now coming out. You know, we've got a wedding coming up in 6 months and I'm really trying to make this space nice for when family comes into town, right? So this gives you the opportunity to just talk big picture about what it is that the customer is trying to do. All right, so question 2, what is it about your existing flooring that makes you want to replace it? What is this question trying to do?
Covering a problem.
Okay, what do you mean by problem?
What bothers them? It's just like on, or you know, what unearthing, it's just like on probably the whole entire reason that we're there in the first place.
Good, yep. So it may be that there's something wrong, like there's a problem, there's a hole in the carpet or something, right? It may be that they just don't like the color of it. Okay. It drove me nuts. The family that lives right next to me, right next door to me, they called me and said, hey, we want to change the carpet because we're getting ready to sell. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry to see you go, but we'll be happy to help you with the carpet. So we just put a cheap carpet in there. And this is how poorly a job I did of local marketing. And by local, I mean next door neighbors. So the new neighbors moved in and 2 weeks later, they were ripping carpet out and putting in hardwood floors. And if I had just knocked on the door and said, hey, by the way, this is who I am and what I do, maybe that would have been my hardwood floors. Anyway, so what is it about your existing flooring that makes you want to replace it? So I'm going to uncover some things. What else might I uncover with that question?
What they potentially are looking for, what they want.
You might, yeah. Eric?
Yeah, I was going to say what Nate said. I mean, if it'll give you some detail about what you want to pull for them, because if they're saying, "Hey, man, I've got 5 kids, and you know this is all torn to shreds," I mean, then you know that you're going to be looking for something a little bit more durable.
Yeah,
Okay.
It also could potentially uncover like a hint as to some ammunition that you can use later on when you're talking about the job. So for example, like if the previous person put in a floor and then made certain mistakes, that's something that you would be able to address, that we're going to be more professional and not do that and calm their concerns.
Right. So when I ask this question, what is it about this floor that makes you want to replace it? This absolutely gives me information that I'm going to use later. So when I'm presenting my solution, whatever that happens to be, when I'm presenting my solution to the customer, this is going to give me the opportunity to show them how my solution is going to avoid whatever it is that they are currently struggling with. So obviously, if it's color, we're going to change color. If it was an installation mistake, like Eric said, then okay, we can talk about how we're going to install it properly. If it was that this builder grade carpet just doesn't hold up to the stress of a bunch of kids running around, okay, then I can show them, hey, I chose this product for you because you said that with all the traffic that's in the house, that this carpet hasn't held up. So I picked a carpet for you that'll hold up under this kind of traffic. So it absolutely gives me information that I'm going to use later. So question 3 is really the blanks that are there. It's really about if somebody's trying to change from one product to another. So you might ask this question, what is it about hardwood that makes you want it instead of carpet? So maybe they have carpet today and they're going to hardwood. or they want hardwood. What is it about hardwood that makes you want it instead of carpet? What is it about tile that makes you want that instead of a hardwood floor? So that it's what is it that they currently have if they're changing a product type? Obviously, if they're not changing a product type, you probably aren't going to ask this question. But what else can I gain from this question that maybe I didn't pick up in question number 2?
Think about different options. So if it's, they're saying hardwood, but you're looking at it and say, man, a vinyl tile might even be better. You could say, look, if you thought about this, better option, it's waterproof, whatever.
Okay. What else can I gain from question 3?
Arlen, I think it gives you, potentially some information around kind of their expectations, because a lot of times the customer's expectations or what they think can happen is not always what can happen.
Good. And remember, Eric said in his transfer in that, he thought his wife would know some things about flooring that she didn't know, right? Well, your customers don't know stuff. What your customers know is what they saw on HGTV last night, or what they saw in a commercial, or maybe what a friend told them. It may or may not be accurate. So somebody might tell you, oh, I want this instead of that because I know that this is whatever, fill in the blanks. I want tile instead of hardwood because I heard that tile is much easier to clean. Okay, well, now that tells me something. They're looking for something that's easy to clean. Maybe tile's the right answer, maybe it's not the right answer, but I know that they're looking for something that's easy to clean. All right, so question number 4, another visualization question. When the project is complete, it's cleaned up and all the furniture is back in place, what does it look like to you? What is this question trying to do?
I think that goes back to what Nick was saying about the expectation,
Because it kind of gives you their vision, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
and it
You want to make sure there's no surprises at the end.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
surprises at the end. Go ahead, Jen.
No, I was gonna say, how high are they dreaming?
Nice, I like that. How high are they dreaming? Okay. And then watch the wording on question number 5. This is worded very specifically. Are you considering any other spaces or projects in the near future? So what am I trying to get at with number 5?
You want to go ahead and measure other spaces in their home that they might consider later, and you already have it done, and they actually may end up going ahead with it that day too.
Yep. So for sure, this is a scope question, right? This is a question to try to increase scope. But it's more than that. This is also looking at other projects. And matter of fact, sometimes I won't even ask the other spaces. I'll say, are you thinking about doing any other projects now or in the future? And I leave it very generic, not flooring projects, but any projects. Why am I interested in finding out what other projects they're doing?
Yep, the roadblock, it's just like going to them buying flooring with us.
Yeah, so is the fence contractor your competitor? The guy that's out they had a guy here last week to quote him a new fence for the backyard. Is that your competitor?
It shouldn't be.
It can be if they
But it
choose the
can be,
fence
yeah.
first.
Well, you might be competing for the same dollars. That's not another flooring competitor, but that you might be competing for the same dollars, and they're trying to decide if they're going to spend money on the fence in the backyard versus spending money on your project, right? So it's helpful for me to understand what other projects they might have from a dollar competition standpoint. Why else is it important for me to understand other projects?
It gives you an opportunity to show your professionalism. So for example, let's say they're getting their kitchen remodeled. That gives you an opportunity to say, well, hey, have you picked out your cabinets yet? Let's, get a wood sample or something and match it to the floor so that you can show your professionalism in the design choice to get them the flooring that they want.
You could, if you feel comfortable with that. Yep, you could absolutely do that. I'm thinking of some other things, but that's a possibility.
Any roadblocks in in actually putting in the floors that you should know about?
Okay, so now we're talking about scheduling, right? So if the customer is going to do all new cabinets, well, you probably need those cabinets in before you do the floor. If the customer is talking about painting, well, we're going to paint the house first, or we want to get painting done. Okay, well, now we have to understand what that does to scheduling. If they tell you that they're going to paint the house, does that change your ability to get them to sign a flooring project today?
Not necessarily.
It shouldn't.
Not really, no.
It really shouldn't, right? Don't confuse production scheduling with landing a sale. Okay, you're going to get new cabinets. Great, no problem with that. We'll just make sure that our installers coordinate with your cabinet people to get the floors in at the same time. No worries whatsoever. Let's pick out your beautiful new floors, right? But I know it, so I understand that there's going to be an installation scheduling thing, but that really should not have any impact whatsoever on us being able to land the sale. And the reason I bring this up is because I have had people tell me, oh, I didn't land the sale last night because, well, they were going to paint first. Okay, well, what does that have to do with picking out the floor? Well, they don't want to do the floor until the paint's done. Okay, well, that's fine. They can wait to do the floor, but there's no reason that doesn't prevent you from landing the sale, and then we can coordinate the schedules on the back end. So don't allow other project schedules to interfere with landing the sale. Land the sale. There's one other thing that this question is trying to flush out. See, there's a ton of stuff in question 5. There's one other thing that that this is trying to flush out. What do you think? Or I should say, that gives you another opportunity.
The owner
Kind of
might
the
have
opening
other
up the-
property.
Sorry, go ahead, Jen, and then I'll come to John.
I'm thinking that it opens up the opportunity to talk about financing down the road. That
Okay,
if we
yeah,
have other
it could.
projects and multiple things going on that we can help them.
It could. John?
I was just thinking maybe the owner has other property.
It might. Yeah, that might be. All right.
Is it an opportunity to give them an objection?
It is. It is. But what I'm thinking of is this question gives you the perfect opportunity to find referrals for your B&I networks and your Chamber of Commerce networks and those types of things, right? So if I ask this question, are you thinking about doing any other projects? And they say, well, yeah, we're looking at, we're looking at having it painted. Okay, great. Hey, I've got a great painter that maybe you've already gotten quotes. I don't know. But if you're still in the decision process, I've got a great painter for you to talk to.
It's
Right.
actually the other way too. If they have somebody they already really love, then you can add them to your referral base. We had that on Tuesday. They had a handyman that they really spoke highly of. And I was like, oh, we need his info.
Yep. But then that'll give, now that you have him, right, you incorporate him into your quiver of arrows. Now that gives you somebody to be able to refer business to. The more business you refer out, the more business that's going to come back to you. That's the classic B&I giver's gain. If, here I am, the handyman, and in the last week, Jen has sent me to 5 different people. I've landed 4 of those jobs because Jen recommended me. Oh my gosh, now next week I feel a real obligation to get Jen some business too. I mean, it's a real thing, and small businesses helping small businesses is huge.
Arlen, I'm just going to throw this question out there. When you mentioned painting, and then you were mentioning cabinet installation, things like that, these are things that I can also do under my other business. Can I do that?
You can.
Okay, so it
There's
won't
nothing
be
that
an
prevents
issue
you
with
from doing
the
that.
franchise?
No, so we should probably, it's not that this is super secret. Everybody can hear this, but we don't necessarily need to take up everybody's time. You need to make sure that they are absolutely separate, right? So this is painting and this is cabinets and whatever else, and it's completely separate from your flooring business.
Yeah.
And we can walk through the franchise agreement and see where you just have to be careful about that. But there's no problem with you having 2 businesses. There's other franchisees that do as well.
Okay.
I would refer you, I mean, there's several, but one that comes to mind right away is Lucas Wilson in Charlotte. Lucas runs a siding business. He has windows, he has roofs, he has gutters, and he has flooring. I mean, he's got almost every home improvement you can think of, right? And so obviously when he does a roofing business, that doesn't go through Floor Coverings International, that goes through his roofing business. So he has figured out how to separate those businesses, different sets of books and whatever. And you'll figure out how to do that as well.
As long as we separate it, then it's fine.
As long as it's separate, right? It's separate.
Okay, because I was just kind of concerned if I can, as expressed, in question 5, if they say, oh yeah, I'm looking to do maybe upgrade the kitchen or something, that's something I can do. I can take, I also able to do that, so.
Yep, absolutely. No, where you'll run into a problem is if you do the floors under your other business, right? That'll end up being a bit of a
conflict of interest.
Conflict, right? But otherwise, no, do the cabinets under the cabinet business and do the floors under the flooring business.
Okay, thanks, Harlan.
Okay. All right, so let me ask you guys this. I hope I get an honest answer. If I ask these 5 questions, what is it that you're looking to accomplish? What is it about your existing flooring that makes you want to replace it? What is it about carpet that makes you want it instead of tile? When the project's complete, all cleaned up, what does this look like to you? And are you considering any other projects in the near future? If I ask these 5 questions, do I have enough information to go out to the van and pull product?
I would say yes.
Yes.
To me, it doesn't feel like enough.
I'm with Aaron. I don't think it's enough either.
I think you need color and you need to, you need
But what
other
about
details.
texture, pattern, like especially with carpet.
Oh, yeah, you gotta
Right.
ask them.
I mean, it might be that when I ask the customer, when the project's complete, what does it look like to you? It might be that they opened up and they told me everything that, oh, I want it to be this color and I want it to look like this and look like this. It might be that these 5 questions just get me started. And now I've got to dig a little deeper to figure out exactly what it is they want, right? So this is not the end all be all of what it is that I'm going to ask. This is absolutely not the end all be all of what it is that I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask enough questions so that I can go out to the van and be confident that I'm pulling a product that meets their needs. I also don't want to ask too many questions. Why do I not want to ask too many questions?
Short attention span.
Okay, I agree with that. Yep.
They're feeling drilled.
Okay, I don't want it to sound like 20 questions, right? I don't want it to feel like they're in the FBI interrogation room. All right, what else?
I think what we were talking about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna, go ahead, Jen.
It's like, no, I was saying like yesterday, the paralysis by analysis and just, yeah, too much information coming at them. Yeah.
Okay. Blake?
I was gonna say, does it diminish you as an expert, your expertise?
Not necessarily. I mean, if I ask a lot of questions about what they want it to look like, it might make me seem like more of an expert, but we're running down a path that you might not be able to get back from.
Won't you be limiting your options? When you
Bingo.
the van?
Bingo. Somebody give Carrie a prize. That's it right there. Okay. Think about it. If you ask me so many questions that I've now told you that I want a 2.5-inch wide hardwood that is Pantone gray, that is hickory, but it has 3 red stripes in the middle of it, and it has this and this and this and this. You can get so detailed with a customer that you walk out into the van and say, wait a minute, I don't have this. Frankly, maybe nobody has it, but you don't have it. You can ask so many questions that now you have actually taken yourself out of the game because you can't meet what they told you. So I want to ask enough questions so that I can go out and pull 3 or 4 boards for option 1, 2 or 3 boards for option 2, a couple of boards for option 3, hey, you know what? If my strategy for options are based on number of rooms, I don't even have to have that many boards. If my strategy is option 1 is going to be the whole house, option 2 is going to be just the downstairs, and option 3 is going to be only the master bedroom, well, then I don't even have to pick that many boards. I just need 3 or 4 boards to be able to pick the product. And then when I change scope, that's what's going to give me my gapping between option 1, 2, and 3. And that's why I personally love playing with scope rather than product, because I don't want to honestly, I don't want to go get 9 boards out of the van. I'd much rather pick 3 or 4 boards that we're gonna nail the product with, and then play with scope or play with services or play with area rugs. You know, throw an area rug into option 1 and then take it back out for option 2. I'd much rather do that than have to go back and find a different product. But you know what? Both are valid strategies. All right. I'm going to break you guys up into breakout rooms, but before we do, we're going to take a quick break. When you come back, we're going to do an exercise around asking questions to figure out what it is that you want. I'm going to break you guys up into different teams, and I'm going to have you come up with a great set of questions for how to find out what the customer's looking for. I'll explain that after the break. So let's take right at 15 minutes. My clock says that it's straight up noon. I will start back at 12:15, and just like we've been doing before, you guys have been great. Turn your cameras off now, turn them back on at 12:15, and we'll get started. Okay, so before the break, we were looking at the step 2 questions, suggested questions. Those are not word for word or in any way mandatory, just some suggested questions. But I really want us to dive in a little bit on what other questions do we need to ask customers when it comes to picking out their floor, actually picking out the floor. So for example, let's take hardwood to start with. So what are some distinguishing features about hardwood, or what are some characteristics about hardwood that you would want to know from the customer that would help you pick something out of the van? For example, what color are you looking for? And you probably texture. All right, what do you mean by texture?
The feel of it.
Smooth. Is it scraped? Is it smooth? Is it
species?
Durability, for if they have pets and dents or scratches.
Okay, so how would you ask the customer about durability?
You have a 200-pound Great Dane, or you just got a little bitty dog? Ask them something about in their house.
Okay.
Are you concerned about scratches or denting of your floor?
Okay, all right.
Do you think that your dog is going to be up here a lot? Maybe.
Maybe.
Is it a high traffic area?
Okay, is it a high traffic area? All right.
Do you entertain a lot? You know, have a lot of, guests or friends over? Or...
Good. Okay.
How
long do you
want
want
it
it
to
to
feel about
last?
high heels?
How do I feel about high heels? So like, are you asking me if I like to see people in them, or what are you asking exactly?
Walking across your floor, because they're going to dent it up if you feel like they like them.
All right. So these are the kinds of questions, right? There's questions that I want to be able to ask a customer that would allow me to get to a product in the van, right? It would be great if I had a flow chart that said, here's my hardwood flow chart, and maybe my first, am I doing an engineered hardwood or am I doing a solid hardwood? Okay, that might be my first. And by the way, I'm probably not asking the customer that question that's a question that I'm going to determine based on what is their subfloor, where is this going, you know, but one of the things that I have to figure out is this engineered or is this going to be a solid hardwood? And I might want to know, is this going to be a wide board or is this going to be a narrow board? Right? Is this going to be smooth? Or is this going to be, I don't even want to call it scraped. Is it going to have texture? And how much? Okay. So as I'm going through this, and then I might ask about color, light, dark, natural. What are you looking for in terms of color? Glossiness, that sort of thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break you guys up into breakout rooms. And I want you to come up with this flow chart. What does it look like if I'm in a home looking for hardwood? If I'm in a home and they're looking for carpet? If I'm in a home and they're looking for LVP? If I'm in a home and they're looking for laminate? So I'm going to break you guys up into 4 breakout rooms. One of you is going to take hardwood, one's going to take carpet, one's going to take laminate, one's going to take LVP. And as a group, I want you to come up with, these are 5 or 6 questions that we believe if we got the answers to these 5 or 6 questions, we would be able to pick something out of the van. Now, you're not trying to get to the exact product in the van. All you're trying to do is get to 3 or 4 boards, right? So it's not like I'm trying to nail the customer down to one specific product or one specific sample. I just want to get to where I could go out to the van and I could pick 3 or 4. I could pick 3 or 4 boards. So is the assignment clear?
Arlen, is that 4 or 5 questions total or 4 or 5 per type of flooring?
Well, each breakout room is going to be given a specific type of
got
flooring.
it. Okay. Makes
Okay.
sense.
So what I need to do is, first and foremost, I need to make sure that my whiteboard and my tablet are not in one of the breakout rooms. So let's do that first. Now, is anybody on their phone apart from their, let's see, there's Ryan's phone number. So let me make sure that Ryan and his phone are in the same room. And I think that's the only phone number I see. Let's see. Okay, I think I've got all the phone numbers and I think I've got all of the technology where it's supposed to be. All right, so room number 1, I've got Aaron, Eric Gibbs, Mark, Ryan, and Sandra. You guys are going to be assigned, make sure I write this down. Room 1, you guys have carpet. So you're going to come up with 4 or 5 questions that you could ask a customer. And if you ask these 4 or 5 questions, you should be able to get to, I can pick from 3 or 4 boards in the van. I'm not trying to get the exact product, but I should be able to get close. Room 2 is going to be Eric Chin, Jen Hine, Jeremy, John Poon, Jonathan, and Tyler. You guys are going to take hardwood. Now we've gotten you a good start, but I imagine you'll dig up even better questions than what we've got on the board. Room 3, you've got Amy, Blake, Jenny Carter, Nikki, Patrick, and Robin. You guys are going to do luxury vinyl plank. And that leaves room 4, Jeff, Jen Reichel, Nate Roach, Roger and Alondra, and Rosa, and you guys are doing laminate. So I'm going to give you about 20 minutes in the breakout room. And in the next 20 minutes, you're going to debate with one another and come up with, these are our 4 or 5 questions. Nominate somebody from the group. When you're all said and done, nominate somebody from the group to present your questions to everybody else, so that we can share with one another. These are what we believe would be great questions to ask. Now, I purposely have left off tile. Why have I left off tile? Tile is really a design thing. It is very much a color and design thing. And so it doesn't really lend itself well to this type of questioning. Tile is pretty much, what do you want it to look like, right? What size, what colors and shapes. And it's a little bit different than the top 4, if you will. So I've purposely left off tile for that reason, not because I'm afraid of tile. I actually love tile. But room 1 is the room with Aaron. You've got carpet. Room 2 has Jen Hine. You've got hardwood. Room 3 is luxury vinyl plank with Blake. And room 4, Nate Roach and that team, you've got laminates. And you have 20 minutes starting now. Let's see. What do you mean one chat thing?
Well, I think you want us to post our questions in the chat, right?
I do.
Just like one stream of consciousness, because if you press return, it's going to keep on posting, and we're all going to be
That's
like,
okay.
Okay.
That's all right. What I'll do is I'll end up capturing them and I'll send them out in the recap tonight anyway.
Okay.
So it's fine. If they end up just being bang, 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 that's okay. All right, so this is fun. I want to see what you guys came up with. So room 1 is all about carpet. So Aaron, Eric, Mark, Ryan, Sandra, I'm very interested to see what are the questions that you're going to ask your customer to try to take all these samples we've got and get them down to just 1 or 2 type of things. So who's the spokesperson for that group?
I am.
All right, Eric.
Okay, so the first thing we wanted to do is get in our jargon, are we looking more at a looped, a textured, or a pattern carpet? But without saying it like that. So we said, so what do you want this carpet to feel like?
Okay. And you're trying to get at a loop texture.
Right. Do you want it to feel like burlap, or do you want it to be really, really fluffy?
Oh, I like that. See, you want it to feel like burlap or fluffy. See, these are the industry terms that keep me up at night right here.
And the next thing we said is, and we're trying to get to less about the texture and more about the thickness of it, or how it feels to, how is it going to squash down? We're going to ask, what thickness are you looking for?
Okay, just straight up, what thickness are you looking for? I like that. Okay.
Then we went to what color or colors would you like?
Okay.
Then when we got the color or colors, we could say, okay, do you want this a solid color, or would you want different colors or a pattern?
Okay.
And then we started going into thinking about, all right, what kind of do we want R2X on this? What kind of backing do we need on it? What kind of carpet padding will we may need? So our last 2 questions are centered on that. Okay. So the first one is traffic use, and what kind of traffic use, traffic or use does this space get?
All right.
And we wrestled with the last one a little. But we came up with, how concerned are you about spills or dog accidents?
Good, okay. Thoughts from the group? Or first of all, anybody else in Eric's group that would like to add some thoughts around these questions that you guys talked through?
I think only one more question that we had mentioned was if assuming they have carpet already, like what is it that you like or dislike about your current carpet? Which could give us a lot of the information from all of these questions.
Good.
I like to know about the vacuum, how it looks when you vacuum, if it leaves the foot marks and the tracks, or if it's, I know there's a difference. I haven't got that down yet, but I don't really like I don't really like seeing the tracks too much.
Oh, so the cush factor, yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're going with the thickness. I mean, we tried to get around that one. I mean, we discussed it, but it's
That's a good one, though, that more than likely, if that's something that's important to the customer, they're going to ask you.
Yeah.
Right. So that's probably something that you may or may not bring up. Hey, do you want to see vacuum lines in your carpet? But it might be something that your customer asks you. If that's something that's important to them, it's probably going to come up.
Okay.
All right. So let me ask you this. If you were the customer and somebody came into your house and says, how would you like this to feel? Sort of like a burlap or soft and fluffy? What kind of thickness are you looking for? What kind of color are you looking for? Do you want it solid, pattern, different colors? What kind of traffic use? Are you concerned about spills? Do you feel like you've been overwhelmed by questions, or do you feel like this is somebody being thorough? What do you think?
A little of both.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like if someone was asking me for the thickness, I would have been like, thickness? I don't know.
Okay.
I think it depends on the delivery. I think if it's just boom, 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 when you ask me all those questions, I'm going to feel like you're interrogating me. If it's all worked into a short 5-minute conversation, I may not even notice I answered all those questions.
Okay.
keep in mind, Aaron's going to be delivering all these, so it'll be perfect.
Oh, good.
Not me.
I like it. All right, so how could we maybe tone it down just a little bit? All right, so I'm going to give you like on thickness. I really like this question, but I also know that almost every sample board that you have has multiple thicknesses available. And so I don't necessarily need to know the thickness in order to pull product out of the van, because I know that when I go pull a board out of the van, it's got different thicknesses on it. And so now that we have the product sitting in front of the customer, I can show them different thicknesses and they can pick out one they like.
Just a little bit more context. It's not just the carpet. It was also the pad was the reason why we asked it. So it's
good.
twofold.
Okay. So I really like the this, how do you want it to feel? So how do you want your carpet to feel when you touch it? Are you looking for something that's soft and fluffy? Or are you looking for something that's maybe a little tighter than that? But then I also like asking the question, okay, how do you want it to feel when you stand on it?
I was going to say underfoot. Yeah.
Right. When you stand on it, how do you want it to feel? Right. Because then that helps me understand, are you looking for a soft and cushy pad, or are you looking for something that is maybe a little tighter, right? I mean, I'll tell you it, and in my home where I normally have the whiteboard and everything set up, I normally stand on carpet and it's got just a regular 8-pound pad under it. And I should have put Courage under it. But at the time, I didn't think I was going to be working from home like I do. And the upstairs, the kids were moving out and I said, well, I don't need to put Courage up there. I'll just put an 8-pound pad up there. Downstairs where our master bedroom is, we have Courage. Now here, I'm in the office and I'm standing on a concrete floor. So I went back to the warehouse and I got a piece of Courage and I doubled it up and I'm standing on 2 pieces of Courage right now. Because it's a lot easier on the knees and on the ankles than standing on concrete all day. So how you're going to use a space and how you want it to feel underfoot makes a big difference for somebody. Good, I like these though. Any other thoughts from the rest of the group about these questions and how you would go about asking carpet? Suggestions?
I wouldn't say dog specific accidents, because then you're alienating all the other pets out there in the world. I just say,
Okay.
Pet accidents, or specific to what animal they have that you've already gotten from the warm up.
I'm curious about what do I want to say? The pattern or the number. So, I mean, to me, I would say, what do you want the room to look like first? And then go feel, but that's just me. I don't know. Is there an advantage to I can't think of the word. I'm totally, anyway.
The order?
The order, thank you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, reverse them, right? Put this one up here. That's okay. And Jen, if I've had a particularly good warm up with the customer and I feel like I can get away with playing a little bit, I might ask, are you worried about your dog spilling something or your husband having an accident? I mean, it's just, I like to have a good time when I'm out there meeting with people. So who knows? Have fun with it.
Then at my house, you have to ask about chickens.
Oh, good. Chickens. All right.
Chickens.
Chickens.
What I'm talking
I
about,
only
don't
have 50
alienate
or
the chickens.
Yeah, I only got 50 or 60 and they do not care. So it comes in on your feet.
I was in a home and they opened the back door like to let the dog in. They opened because something was beating against the back glass. They opened the door and a goat came running in the house just like it was a dog, came running in and jumped up on the couch like they were just a dog ready to watch TV. And this wasn't out in the country. This wasn't out in the country. This was just in like a subdivision in a neighborhood in downtown Columbia. Okay.
They allow goats in a neighborhood? I've never heard of that.
I don't think it's
Sometimes.
allowed.
Some cities do not.
Of Denver.
Some cities do not have ordinances against it. If there is not an ordinance against your animal specifically, you can absolutely have it. And goats are not always specifically ordinanced again. And I have had goats in my house.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
All right.
goat yoga.
No, don't ever do that. Really, don't.
All right, so let's go to hardwood. Pick up the black marker.
Okay, so for hardwood, we started with what is the space, like what is the intended use of the space?
Okay.
So we're trying to get at durability with this question. What do they need? Do they have a bunch of kids, pets, etc.?
Okay.
And for the second question, we kind of hit a bunch of criteria with that. Basically, what do you want it to look and feel like? So we're hitting texture, color, variation in the planks, whether there are a lot of knots or not.
Okay.
That's basically, sorry, and length and width, like what are you looking for, a particular length or width?
Your
Your
issue
planks?
was that the Black Bear.
Okay, so a length and width question. Okay.
Yeah, and then is there a particular species that you're interested in?
Okay.
I think that was it.
All right. So comments on this? From anybody else in that group or anybody in the big group?
I do have a question. So on species, that came up in our group too because of the look of or whatever. So I found outside of Rex, honestly, not many people I've talked to about wood know anything about species. I don't know anything. So is that a common thing that people really do know and I just haven't met them yet? Or is that something that people are like, I don't know, whatever that is?
Comment from it within the group, we were talking about this a little bit and we are saying that, the people that, so there are people that absolutely love wood, hardwood only, and a lot of times they will have like a feel on this is the kind of wood that I want. But a lot of people that are kind of iffy about, well, maybe hardwood, maybe engineered wood might not know so much.
So
I think that's a question that should be asked, engineered or solid.
So that was gonna go.
Or,
in.
oh, we talked about that. We would know. Right. Yeah, no, we would know that.
Engineered versus solid, the difficulty that you're going to have with that question is that, I mean, look in your van, how many solid hardwood boards do you have? You got like 2 boards. So you don't have a lot of solid hardwood options. So I'm probably not going to ask them if they want engineered or solid. If it's a space where I can do a solid hardwood floor and it sounds like that's what the customer is looking for, then I'll bring it in. But most of the time, I'm just going to lead with engineered hardwood anyway, because that's what we actually have options for. And the other thing that I wanted to come back to the species question. This one, I've got big question marks for because of the same reason. So Jonathan, if you ask me, is there a particular species of wood? And I tell you, oh, there's an acacia wood that I absolutely love. What are you going to do with that? Because you don't have it.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have it. So instead, if I focus on characteristics that I can solve, so I can solve length and width, I can solve color, I can solve texture. But when it comes to species, you could end up going down a path that you can't get back from. Now, what is it normally that people are thinking about when they're thinking about species? Well, they're normally thinking about, do you like knots in your wood? Or do you really like to see the grain lines? If I think about somebody that they absolutely hate knots, well, okay, that's fine. I can solve that problem with any species. I just have to pick one that doesn't have a lot of knots in it. On the other hand, if somebody says, no, I absolutely hate seeing the grain lines. I love hardwood, but I don't want to see the grain lines. Well, then I'm probably headed towards a maple board because maple doesn't really show the grain lines as much. But I don't really want to pigeonhole myself if I can help it. Because it might be that I can find an oak with a natural stain. You can see the grain lines, but they don't just scream at you. Other thoughts from the group on hardwood questions?
I know from my perspective, Arlen, it's like with having done design that I always tried to pigeon people, not pigeon, but it's just like going to get people to tell me it's like if they're trying to match the character of the house.
So talk to me about matching the character of the house.
It's like specifically, it's just like going if their style tends to lend more towards modern, of kind of steering them down the path of less knots, less texture, lighter colors. It's like many times, or it's just like going. I don't know. Eric Gibbs and I were talking about how he lives in an old Victorian house. Well, you wouldn't want some very modern looking maple blonde wood plank in there because it doesn't match. It's just like going the same, that's why I say character as a 120-year-old house. It's like with some old, hickory or oak woods, that are down. So it's, and you could perhaps, it's like do that as you're looking around and looking at the person's style kind of during the warm up and kind of noting,
Okay,
you know, and that might not actually have to be a question. That just could be that, oh, okay, they've got a modern style, or, oh, they have antiques all over their house.
okay, all right, good. So yeah, absolutely matching the character of the house. I like that. One word that you said modern, right? And if somebody uses the word modern or traditional or contemporary, people use those words with me. I do want to dig in and figure out what they mean by that,
Mhm.
right? Because I mean, for some people, bell bottoms are modern. For other, right? Because this is a new thing, bell bottoms. I mean, bell bottoms to me, that's old school, right? So, and flooring does the same thing. It just takes longer to cycle through. For some people, what they perceive to be modern might be old school for somebody else, and vice versa. So it's not a bad word, it's not a bad question, but I want some clarification. What does modern mean to you? All right, good. Let's see. Room 3 had luxury vinyl plank. And it's no mistake that these lists are probably going to look similar, but let's see.
All right, so our first question was, assuming we know it's LVP, or the luxury vinyl, do you want your floor to look like wood or tile?
Ah, good. Good question.
And then next question, we shied away from species, but what do you want your floor to look like? Specifically, right?
Okay.
So this gets into the, you know, if it's wood, knots, grains, no grains. If it's tile, they start talking about, does it look like a natural stone, a porcelain, a pattern, things like that.
Okay, good.
3, what texture do you envision? Smooth, textured?
Okay.
And then we get in, are you okay with planks tiles that have, say, 4 or 5 boards where you may see a repeating pattern, or do you want a more natural wood or stone look? So the variation.
Good.
And then we get into, you know, what length, width, size, pattern. You know, it kind of depends if we're going down the wood path or the tile path there.
Right. Okay.
And then finally, color.
Nice. All right. Questions from the group on these or comments on these?
Actually, I skipped one in there.
Uh-oh.
Before color was, what do you want the floor to sound and feel like when you walk on it?
Okay, what do you mean by that versus like texture versus smooth?
That's the surface, the texture
Okay.
is smooth, versus, you know, how you're actually, you know, standing, using the room. You know, Amy was talking about, does it click clack or does it sound like wood? Is that important to you? Things like that.
Got it. Okay, good. All right. Other, so comments, questions for this group? How you would use these questions?
For wood and LVP, or just in general, like the length and width questions, do you feel like those narrow it too much? Like somebody says, oh, I want a 12-inch wide plank only, but then
Yeah,
they would really want like a 9-inch or an 8-inch, but they just, like, in their mind, they're like, I only want this really wide plank, you know?
So that's why, so I normally would ask that question in a very generic way. Are you looking for more of a narrow plank or more of a wider plank? And leave it at that, because you're right. If somebody says, I only want a 6 3/8 inch wide board, okay, well, I think I have one of those, right? And it's, the other thing is somebody may throw something out at you. For example, I've been to Home Depot, I picked up this sample, I really like this wood. Okay, well, that tells me two things. First of all, it tells me they haven't bought from Home Depot yet. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be in this conversation, right? So there was something about the Home Depot experience that they're still out there looking. But now they have this sample. Too often we play fetch. Okay, I know what it means for your dog to play fetch. Do you know what it means for you to play fetch?
Go try to find the same exact thing that we have in our
Exactly.
van.
Right. So now you're out there hunting the internet. You're out there driving around town. You're trying to find this. They have an avocado colored tile that I'm trying to match, and you're never going to match it. You're never going to find it. Right. I will tell you that flooring companies as a whole will discontinue between 25 and 30% of their products every year. So you've got a one, almost a 1 in 4, 1 in 3 shot that the product that they're handing you is something that's already been discontinued, unless they just happen to get it off the shelf today. So I look at a product like that and I ask the customer, what is it about this sample that makes you like this? And they say, well, I like the color. Great. Color I can solve, because I've got a bunch of colors in the van and we can find something that's really close to this. Or they say, I really like the texture. Great, texture I can solve. But if they say, I really like this very specific thing, well, then there's something they didn't like because they haven't bought that yet. So try not to play fetch, right? And you get a sample from somebody and they're giving you that information. Great, but what is it about that you like? And I want to try to find that particular characteristics. Any other thoughts on the luxury vinyl plank list? All right, room 4, laminate. Who's up?
So our first question, we want to know why the customer wants laminate. So what is it that makes you want laminate? Is it the durability or the scratch resistant?
Okay.
And that follows me to the second question that we have is for installation purposes, where are we putting it?
Okay.
Next one is, what is something that you do not want to see in your new floor?
Okay.
That could be like a color or just those kind of things that we want to make sure that we're staying away.
Okay.
Next question, what kind of colors are you wanting or style?
Okay.
And then last one, do you want a certain texture?
Okay.
That was my last one.
All right. So thoughts from the group?
To add a little clarity too, like, when we were thinking about the first question, the general consensus is a lot of people like don't understand laminate or don't understand the expectations or confuse it with luxury vinyl planks or whatever it is. So the first question was also to kind of snuff out, like, maybe do they really understand what they're wanting? If they're wanting to put laminate in a basement that's very, has a ton of moisture in it, obviously there's more work that goes into it to make sure that that doesn't get ruined. So maybe to kind of snuff out some of that.
Okay. All right. So this is about understanding expectations. Okay. Good. Other thoughts? So if you asked me these questions, what is it about laminate? Well, I heard that laminate doesn't fade. And, I I like to move my rugs around a lot, and so I wanted laminate because it doesn't fade. Where's it being installed? Well, we're gonna put it right here on the ground level, first floor, in my living room. Okay, what do you not want? Well, the last floor I had faded a lot. Okay, what kind of colors and styles? Well, I'm looking for something that's it just looks like a natural wood, so not necessarily blonde, but just a very natural light brown look, and any sort of texture. No, I'm looking for something that's I mean, it can have a little bit of texture, but I don't want anything crazy like, you know, I've seen these hardwoods that are scraped and all that stuff. Just something that's fairly smooth. Does that give you enough to be able to go pull something out of the van?
I think so.
Okay. If you can ask these questions and feel confident that, again, I'm not trying to pull one board, but I can get it down to 2 or 3 boards, then you've asked enough questions to be able to go pull something out of the van. And I do like keeping it more generic, because the tighter you get it, the greater the chance is that you're going to pin the customer down on, or you're pinning yourself down with a product that you don't have or that you can't get. Right.
And one thing I don't want to do is overwhelm the customer. I feel like the more questions that I ask, or just kind of repeating myself and talking in circles, overwhelms them and kind of overwhelms me.
Good. I like it. Okay. Anything else for the groups? Questions about the questions? Yes.
One thing I wanted to add, Jen made a really good point on question 2, where it's installed. She talked about if there was going to be different heights and flooring. So that was another good question. That question's more of like almost helping us inspect as well. Like, or is it going to be different heights? And she also talked about, Jen, you could add on to this, but the outlets in the floor with one of the customers that you had worked with.
Yeah, so I just recently bid a job and got the job, and we were replacing her current floors with new floors, and it was from laminate to LVT, and it turned out that she had floor electric outlets, which I didn't notice in the hustle bustle of all of the project and trying to cover all of the bases. And so when we replaced the laminate, because it was so much thicker with the LVT, then those stuck up out of the floor and they were no longer flush with the floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Floor height makes a difference, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right. So we're going to take the questions that we just uncovered, and we're going to dive even deeper into product selection. We're going to dive even deeper into product strategy. But I don't want to start that right now because it's going to take longer than I really wanted to do, like to give you guys a break for lunch. So my clock says that it's 1:17. Let's say that we're back at 2:05. So you have a little over 45 minutes. At 2:05, come back, and you don't necessarily have to have your tablet, but it might be, I'm going to go into the tablet, and if you want to follow along in the tablet, it'll be helpful if you've got it. So 2:05, or whatever that time looks like on your clock, in about 45 minutes. And I will see you then. Jump back on. Nikki, you sent me a note asking about where you could figure out your sample inventories and stuff, right? So I'll show you this with everybody on the call here. Let me share my screen. All right, so if I open up floor 1-1, when it decides to open up here. Now, I'm headed into the merchandising folder. And I normally take people the long way just so that you see where everything is. But I will also show you the short way. So over here on the left, If I go to dashboard and library, and then inside the library, there's the franchise owner's manual. And yeah, I've got a couple other folders here that you don't have, but if I click on the franchise owner's manual, and then I go to merchandising resources, this is where we're going to find your samples list. Now, that went dashboard, library, franchise owner's manual, merchandising. There is a faster way. If you come over here to the left, you'll notice that merchandising is actually right there in the, right there on the main menu. So you don't have to go through, I mean, it's going to take you to the exact same place. So you can just come over here and click on merchandising, and that's going to take you to that specific folder. So you're getting to exactly the same place. You're just taking a shortcut to get there. And what I want to look for is I want to go into the mobile showroom. So I'm going into the mobile showroom. When I open up the mobile showroom, there's a file here. It's called the Mobile and Studio Crossover Inventory List. And Sean updates this every time it needs to be updated. It hasn't been updated since May 9th, but that's okay. There hasn't been any updates since then. So if I go into merchandising and I go to mobile showroom, and then I open up this mobile inventory, mobile and studio crossover list, let's open this guy up. And your question fits perfectly today because we're talking product and step 2 and step 6 and all these wonderful things. So once this opens, way too many windows open on the computer. All right, so here we go. This is your file. This is the one you're looking for. And you'll see the first tab is your mobile showroom, and your second tab says the studio crossover list. So the first tab, that mobile showroom list, these are the things that I would expect you to have in your mobile showroom. And then the second tab, the mobile showroom studio, so this is your studio list. This is the stuff that I would put in my studio. Now, for everybody's benefit, I think I've mentioned it to this class, but I'll remind you, when you look at this list, all of these items that are highlighted, these are all top sellers from last year. And then the ones that are in bold that say new, then obviously these are the new ones from this year. So if I were struggling to try to learn all the products, and if I were struggling with all the different samples that were in the van, you know, one of the things that might be helpful is empty the van out and only put in the van the items that are highlighted and the items that are marked as new for this year, and take everything else out of the van. And I mean, it's a way of simplifying life, right? Then it's just, these are the ones that we're going to sell right there. Because I know if these were top sellers last year, chances are they're going to be top sellers again. And the ones that are new this year, I don't know if they'll be top sellers or not, but hey, who knows? You'll also notice, like, this is, here's a good one, Alcott 1, 2, and 3. That's not 3 boards. That's all on one board. That's all on the Alcott board. It just so happens that there's 3 different pile heights on that board. So Alcott 1 is going to be the shortest one. Alcott 2 is in the middle, and Alcott 3 is going to be the tallest one. And then just to remind everybody, if I'm here, I can always come over here and click on the data sheet. Yes, I want to go to that. Thank you very much. Oh, come on. Open up. So if I click on the links, it should take me to the Alcott. Yep, there it is. Here's my Alcott 2 broadloom carpet. It's a Floor Coverings International branded, co-branded with Shaw product data sheet that shows me all the interesting details about what this is made out of. So anyway, very, very helpful tool. This is one, I think Jen was saying that she had printed her sheet off and had done stuff. So this is one way to get to it. The other way, she was going through the price list manager, but this is another way to get to the stuff that's in your van. And it's just an easy way to get there.
Hey, Arlen, can I interject one thing as people are doing inventory? So I have an error in my EDI feed from Shaw, and like 80% of my LVP says it's dropped. My carpet pads say they're dropped. So if you see a whole bunch of drops, probably reach out to Sean. They've put me in touch with Shaw because there's a problem in my feed. I have a whole bunch of stuff that says drop that's not.
There you go. Okay, good to know. Reach out to Sean for that. Rosa, you sent a text asking if you can see my screen. I think everybody can see this, but we don't see Rosa right now. So maybe we're back to Rosa's spotty internet service. We'll see. I think that's actually the name of a cable company, Rosa's Spotty Internet Service. All right, so let's go. Stop this share. All right, so I am going to, let's share what we've got. Let's come back here. All right, good. So you should be seeing a chicken scratch drawing that's up here on the whiteboard. So when I look at this is, we're gonna work through this together. And I'm looking at this drawing and I'm thinking, okay, I've gone into a customer's house and this is the drawing that I've come up with in the tablet. And I'll show you the tablet version too. So let's say you're in my house and I want to change the flooring. There's carpet right now. Right now, there's carpet in all of these rooms. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that this is carpet today. This is carpet. This is carpet. And this is carpet. And for fun and games, the subfloor is an OSB subfloor in all 4 rooms. So what do you want to ask me to know what we're going to do here? You got to write a proposal for me. So what do you want to know?
I want to know if you want to stay with carpet first.
Well, you know, I'm not thrilled with carpet. I really want to do something different in the living room and the hallway. I mean, I might be okay. I might be okay with carpet in the bedrooms. But I would really prefer to have hardwood in the living room and in the hallway.
Then I would ask why hardwood. What is it about hardwood that makes you want to have hardwood in the living room and the hallway?
Well, for the hallway, carpet just wears down so fast with traffic going back and forth to the bedrooms. It just wears down so fast in a hallway that I'd rather do like a hardwood in there. And for the living room, I really want to, carpet in the living room's okay, but to me, it makes it feel like it's a more inviting space if it's hardwood.
Hey, Arlen, what are you overall looking to accomplish with these spaces?
So the bedrooms, I just want to make them feel more comfortable, right? Everything that you see here, it's all builder grade carpet right now. It's worn out, and I just want to make the bedrooms more comfortable. With the living room, I really just want to make it feel more inviting. And for the hallway, something that's a little more durable. And it would be nice, since all this is connected, it'd be nice if what's in the hallway was the same as what was in the living room.
Thank you.
So Arlen, are you when you say hardwood, are you thinking more of engineered hardwood, or are you wanting to potentially put traditional hardwood?
I really don't even know what the difference is.
Okay. Well, we'll help you solve that.
All right. Thank you for that. Man, we came up with all these questions and we forgot them all.
Arlan, what is it about your existing flooring, about this carpet, that makes you want to replace it?
It's
Are
just
you having
old.
any issues?
Yeah, it's just old and worn out. I mean, it's
Okay.
just, it's ugly.
Great.
Arlen, while we're talking, do you have a certain color scheme or a certain style you're thinking about doing? Whether it be the carpet or the hardwood?
So if we did carpet in the bedrooms, I just want to keep it neutral, right? I know it sounds boring, but just a beige carpet in the bedroom, something comfortable, but something boring. If we do something right in the living room in the hallway, I'd really like to go with a little bit of a darker hardwood. I'm not a big fan of the little tiny planks. I'd much rather have like a wider board. And maybe something that's got a little texture. I don't know. I've seen these hand scraped boards. I don't even know how they do that, but it'd be nice to have a little texture on it.
So when you say you want the carpet in the bedroom to be boring, I assume you only mean the color, but what do you want it to feel like when you are walking across your bedroom? Do you want it to be very soft and plush, or do you want more of a lower pile, so it's just kind of like walking on a floor that's pretty flat?
No, I want it to be comfortable. Now, I might do hardwood in the bedrooms and then just do like rugs, but if it was easier to just do all of them the same. But I'm also okay with doing a carpet in there if we can make it like a comfortable carpet, something that's, I don't want something really thin. This builder grade carpet hasn't lasted really well, so I would want something that had some meat to it.
What is it about hardwood that would make you want to have that over carpet?
I just think it looks better. I just think in a living room, it makes the living room look more like a living room. That's all.
You did just say you were open to hardwood in the bedrooms also with rugs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Arlen, have you investigated and looked into any other kind of product that looks like wood that has an increased durability? It's like for that traffic flow issue you were talking about in the hallway.
I really haven't. That's intriguing to me, but I really haven't.
Yeah, because we've got some other products out there that could increase that durability factor. It's just like, but that would oh goodness, it's just like I completely blanked here. Because we've got some other products out there that like some luxury vinyl plank that would give you that wood look.
Okay.
And it's like it could definitely pull into those colors, and they come stamped with the textures, and so that was kind of fitting all the bills there of your color styles and textures. It's just like going with the durability that I hear that seems to be important to you, especially with doing that contiguous look from your living room, which is going to get your traffic flow as well and into your hallway. And this could work. It's just like going into your bedrooms as well.
Okay. All right. So do you feel like you have enough information to go pull, maybe not the exact board, but do you feel like you have enough information to go pull 2 or 3, 4 boards out of the van to be able to put a proposal together?
Arlan, can I ask just one more question?
Yes.
How concerned are you about spills or bed accidents?
I'm really not. Thank you for asking. I've got 2 cats. And yeah, they throw up I mean, just like all cats do, they throw up sometimes. You know, we just need to be able to clean it up, but we don't, you know, it's me and the wife and 2 cats. There's a dog, but she's almost dead. I mean,
Oh my
it's
God. Okay, perfect.
So
I'll consider
anyway,
that.
I'm not that concerned about the dog, and it's you know, it's a couple of cats.
Okay, perfect.
Eric's looking at me like, what are you talking about, dude? What's up?
Dog lover,
So the
man. I
dog.
like to hear that.
And if it was a dog near end of life, that can really destroy your brand new carpet. So
It
I
might.
would probably.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna send you back into the same rooms that you were in before lunch. I'm not looking for a specific board. I'm not looking for you to come back and say, oh, you have to do this board, you know, this is wonderful. What I'm looking for, this first iteration, what I'm looking for is, I want you to put together a strategy. What is your option 1 gonna be? What is your option 2 gonna be? And what is your option 3 gonna be? So how are you gonna strategize putting together multiple options for this? Again, I'm not worried about the exact board name. The board name will come later. I'm more concerned about what are you gonna do to build a strategy to come up with 3 options. This should be fairly quick, and frankly, it needs to be fairly quick because you don't have that much time when you're in the customer's home. So as a group, I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes. It's probably not going to feel like enough time, but I want you to debate what is our strategy going to be around an option 1, option 2, option 3. This is what strategy we want to do to be able to present this. So let me send you guys back into the same breakout rooms. Breakout rooms. There they are. And you guys come up with, you've got 10 minutes to come up with an option 1, option 2, option 3 strategy. All right, so let's see, we've got some that are not joined. I need Ryan to go to room 1. Let's see, Eric, who were you with?
I was in room 2.
Send you to room 2. John, who were you with?
I'm in room 2, but I'm using the phone. I should still be able to join though.
Yep, you should be able to join, no
Okay,
problem.
I see it. Yep, I got it.
And I'll send Rex with Amy into room
That
3.
that pop-up.
All right, so let's see. Rex, you should have an invite to join Amy. Eric, you should have an invite on your screen now. All right. So everybody's popping back in. Good stuff. Okay, so let's talk through the different strategies that you came out with. So room 1, what was your strategy for 3 options?
Were we room 1?
Let's see, that's, yep, that's Aaron, Eric Gibbs, Mark, and Ryan.
So our thought process was kind of keep it simple. You wanted hardwood in the living room and the hall and carpet in the bedrooms. We're going to give you those options in the 3 different price groups.
Okay, so you're going to do living room, hallway, in hardwood, and bedrooms in carpet. But then you're going to do what? So option 1, this is going to be like a price group, what?
PG3.
Okay, all right. And then I assume option 2 is gonna be a PG2,
Yep.
and option 1 is gonna be a PG1. Okay, all right, that's one strategy. All right, room 2.
We're all trying to remember which rooms were we in.
I think we were in 2.
All right, so sorry, room 2, that's Eric, Jen Hine, Jeremy, Jonathan
Oh,
Friedman,
okay.
John Poon.
That is us. It's just like gun. Well, since I'm already chatting, it's just like going, I'll tell you, we're option 1, it's just like going was living room and hallway and engineered hardwood with carpeting and bedrooms. Option 2, it's just like going was running all hardwood with adding a little bonus. It's just like going of rugs. It's just like going for the bedrooms for the customer.
Okay.
And yeah, we went complicated. And then 3 was running in an LVP option to show them that it's just like on the product that's more durable and looks exactly like the woods. It's just like on and probably in a, I mean, we didn't really discuss price group on that one, but,
Okay.
but it's just like
So-
going, but.
So
Oh, sorry,
would
go
you
ahead.
run the LVP through all 4 rooms or just part of the rooms?
Didn't we say, guys, that we were that we'd say run the LVP all the way through?
All
Yeah,
rooms.
it was all
You'd be
all
option
rooms.
us wood and then
All rooms
it
throughout,
shows
I
that
think we said.
Okay. All right, good. So let's go to room 3, which would have been,
I think that's
that's
us.
Amy, Blake, Jenny, Nikki.
So we're similar to room 2. Our option 1 is hardwood throughout with the rugs in the bedroom. Option 2 was hardwood in the hall and living room, and then like a PG2 carpet in the bedrooms. And then option 3, instead of LVP, we went with a laminate. Because there's some really nice real wood looking laminates that they have out there that, so we did laminate throughout, and then we didn't quite get there, but we would probably throw rugs in similar to what we did on option 1.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that leaves room 4.
So in our first option, we did hardwood all the way throughout all 4 rooms with an area rug in the living room, engineered hardwood, and a little bit higher grade in the PG3.
Okay.
And then our second option was hardwood in the living room and the hall, carpet in the bedrooms, a textured carpet with a Courage cushion in the PG2 category for both of those. And then actually, yeah, and then that option was PG3, I believe. And then the next option would be the same, but PG2. So hardwood carpet, PG2.
Okay. Let me ask you this. What would be the most ask it differently. What would be the least cost way to solve my problem without cutting corners, without doing a bunch of stupid stuff? What would be the least cost way for me to do this?
Resilient floor. Like an LVP or a laminate throughout.
Or carpet throughout the whole thing.
LVP all the way.
Or carpet, recarpet everything.
Least cost.
Gotcha.
Carpet
is
everything.
Carpet for all of it. Okay. All right. Let's go just 1/2 a step above that. So I'm going to call this almost least cost. Laminate in the living room and hallway, and carpet in the bedrooms. Right? Because generally speaking, laminate's going to be less expensive than an LVP. And for what I've described, laminate would work. So you could do a laminate in the living room and in the hallway, and you could do carpet in the bedrooms. Right? So it's not that any of these strategies are wrong. None of these strategies are wrong. The only thing that I'm missing here is I don't see an option where this is the least expensive way to solve your problem.
But Arlen, does it solve your problem? Because the way you described it to us, you had three main issues. You hated the carpet, you really liked the way that wood looked, and your carpet was shit.
Okay.
So
I didn't say
I don't feel like carpet overall. Okay.
Okay, so you're right. You're right. This maybe doesn't solve exactly what I was looking for, because I did want a hard surface in the living room and bedroom, right? But before I leave the house, if I keep getting told no, 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 before I leave the house, I'm going to make one last ditch effort and show this is what it would be. This is what it looked like to replace carpet everywhere. I don't want to leave the house unless I have, let's see, this is a good Kansas thing. I don't want to leave the house unless I have emptied all the barrels. Okay. All right. But the least cost way to do exactly what I asked for would be to do laminate in the living room and the hallway and to carpet the bedrooms. And it doesn't have to be the cheapest laminate in the world, but this is a nice laminate that'll do exactly what you wanted it to do. It doesn't have to be a shit carpet. It doesn't have to be the worst carpet in the world. This is a nice carpet that'll do what you wanted it to do. So I'm going to send you back in the breakout rooms. And if all of you want to do this, that's great. If only some of you want to do it and then report back, that's okay too. But I actually want you to take your tablet. I want you to draw the rooms in your tablet, and I want you to actually price out what you came up with for your options. So for room number one, I want you to draw the spaces, and in the living room and in the hallway, put a PG3 carpet. In the bedrooms, PG3 hardwood. In the bedrooms, put a PG3 carpet. For option two, change all those to PG2. For option one, change those back to PG1. And we're just going to stick with the PGs for right now, but I want you to see what is the real price difference, what is the real cost difference to the customer for doing it this way. So let's not get too hung up on, oh my gosh, how many doors, what are the transitions? We're not getting that level of detail. Matter of fact, you can skip all the doors if you want to. I don't care. This isn't a competition between different rooms. This is within your room. What is my price difference between my option one, my option two, and my option three? Okay.
Can you show us the measurements of your rooms one more time real quick, please?
Absolutely. So if you guys need to take a picture of this,
So
whatever you need to do.
if we didn't have a low cost option, should we be doing one now?
Maybe make that an option 4.
Okay.
So I want you to see what your 3 options came up with. And then if you want to do the low cost version, create an option 4 for that low cost version.
Arlen, there's no PG groups for area rugs, so do you want us to just exclude them?
You could add a rug. You're right, there's not a PG for it. But if you wanted to add an area rug, let's see, search a good SeaTac rug is Roxy. You could search ROXY, Roxy. You might look at it and say that's horrible, but you know, that's okay. It's just going to get you a generic rug in there.
Well, there's also Notice that has cheaper rugs than SeaTac. So would you look at 2 different rug ones?
Or you could pick one of the Norrison rugs to put in there.
Is that how you say that word? Okay, perfect.
Yep.
All right, thanks.
Okay. All right, so again, it should take you less than 10 minutes to do this. So I'm going to send you guys back into the breakout rooms. That way, if you have questions, you can ask each other what's going on here. I'll give you between 10 and 15 minutes. And when you come back, what I'm looking for is, what was your cost for option 1? What was your cost for option 2? Your price to the customer, option 1, option 2, option 3. And again, I'm not getting too hung up on the little details. I really don't care. I'm really concerned about what is the difference between 1, 2, and 3. So I wouldn't waste a lot of time trying to nitpick stuff.
And you're saying like what specifically in each room, what we chose?
Yeah, so like what was your option 1? So I'm going to come to room 1 and I'm going to say, what was your option 1 price? What was your option 2 price? What was your option 3 price? And I will send you back into the breakout room so you guys can work together. Give you 10 to 15 minutes. That's really, I mean, my gosh, you don't even have to walk around the room and measure. Everything's there. All right, this should be a lot of fun. This should be good. All right, so we've got
Yes, you do that.
we've got room one, Aaron, Eric Gibbs, Mark, Ryan. Room one, you guys said that your option 1, 2, 3 was simply around PG. So we were going to do a PG3 in the, so we're going to do hardwood and carpet in all three options, and you were going to use a PG3, a PG2, and a PG1. So off of one of your tablets, I don't really care which, but what was your price to the customer for PG for your option 1, 2, and 3?
Option 1 was 14,720. Option 2 was 12,540. And option 3 was 10,990.
Okay. All right. Room 2. Room 2 said, and room 2 is the other Eric, Jenheim, Jeremy, Jonathan, John, Tyler. So you guys said option 1, we were going to do hardwood in the living room and hallway, bedroom carpet. Option 2, all hardwood with some rugs. And option 3, luxury vinyl plank everywhere.
Okay, so I did PG3s all around, and for option 1, I got 19,205.
Is that Canadian dollars?
I think so, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine was different, so.
All right, let's go with Jen's so that we've got a little comparison.
Hey, are you discriminating against us?
No, I'm not discriminating. I'm trying to
border.
You set the control on the first one.
I just understand that in Canada everything's just bigger, and so trying to keep an even playing field. That's all.
Fair enough. Very diplomatic, Arlen.
I thought everything was bigger in Texas, actually. Isn't that the?
Until you start looking at exchange rates. All right, Jen. So what was your option 1?
I'm laughing because ours went kind of backwards. It's like, now that we look at it, 15,525 for option 1. 19,563 for option 2. And 22,306. It's just like going for LVP all throughout.
Okay. All right. Option, let's see, room 3, option 1. Room 3 would be Amy, Blake, Jenny, Nikki, Patrick, Rex, Robin.
So I guess I'm sharing numbers. I still have the standard numbers in my tablet. So just FYI, option 1 came up with 25,797, all hardwood. I did not add rugs. Option 2 was, what was that, hardwood in the living and hallway, and then carpet in the bedrooms. That was 13,790. And then option 3 was all laminate PG3 at 20,737.
Okay, all right, room 4. So room 4, everybody else. Jeff, Carrie, Jen, Nate, Roger, and Alondra.
Jeff and Carrie, do you want to go with yours or do you want me to do mine?
Go with yours and because I think you changed some factors that we haven't changed yet.
Yeah, one of mine might be wrong, but okay. I have carpet in the bedrooms and PG3 in the hardwood in the living room and hall, and that was 16,262.95. And then option 2 was carpet PG2 and hardwood PG2 in the living room and hall. So it was PG3 in the first, and that is
higher than here.
$10,911. And then this one, my thing requires a lot of waste factor change and it's not in here, right? So I don't know if you want to wait on that, or I was
So
trying to
you
do laminate as another option for a more cost-effective option.
But you had originally you guys said that your first option was going to be all hardwood.
Yes.
So
Oh
what
yeah, I
was
didn't
that?
even do that right.
Oh, that one's 17,706.
Thank you, Jeff. Way to save me.
And that's a better price than you can come up with, Jen, because you're paying Colorado taxes.
Where are you, Jeff?
Yeah, but
Michigan, it's cheap.
yeah, but the gift that she can leave for her customers is very different.
Yeah, I get that. I get it.
All right. Did anybody do a laminate carpet? This option 3 is laminate everywhere. Did anybody do a laminate in 2 rooms, carpet in the bedrooms option? Just for fun?
Yeah. And I think you're muted.
Yeah, that's the one I was just working on. So it reset my carpet waste factor. So, but yes,
like-
I do have that.
Ours is 10,938, Arlen.
Perfect.
That was
Okay.
2-3. There you go.
All
And
right.
let me-
now, go ahead.
May I just ask, okay, so should I have to change waste factor on every single labor thing? Because it inputs it every time and I have to go back and zero it out for every single room, every single quote.
So here's a strategy for you, Jen, and this is something that you'll need to talk it through with Luke, okay? I can't tell you to do this, but I can show you what can be done. So let's say that you have a remove carpet, remove and haul away carpet, okay? All right, what do you pay your installers? What do you actually pay your installers to do that?
$1.50.
Okay, so, all right, so what is in your tablet for that cost?
$1.50.
$1.50. And it automatically comes up with some kind of waste factor, right? 10, 15, 20%, right? It comes up with some kind of waste factor. Okay, what if I said, I'm quite happy to pay my installer $1.50 to do that? I'm happy, that's fine. I'm good with that. But what if I were to go into my price list manager and change the number to $1.40? Or for that matter, I could even change it to $1.35. Knowing full well that when your tablet adds the waste factor back in, it's going to get me back to the 150. So instead of having to go in on every line and taking the waste factor out, what if I take it out one time in the price list manager? I'm still going to pay the installer 150. It doesn't change what I'm paying the installer. It just makes it so that you don't have to play around with waste factors all the time.
Well, what about when you're seaming it and the waste factor varies from 8 to 18?
It's going to be a little bit different. It's always going to be a little bit different. But let me ask you this. we'll take this example, take the, whatever option you're looking at on your screen. How much is your cost for removal and haul away of carpet total?
$152.64.
$152.64,
Oh,
right?
sorry, but that's just for 2 of the rooms. I'd have to add it together because it bulks them in 2 different categories. For the,
Okay, that's fine. Add them together.
okay, it's 170.73 plus the 152.64. So we're at 323.37.
All right, 323.27. Now let's say, I don't know, let's say that you're plus or minus even 10%. I'm going to give you a wide variance, plus or minus 10%. So let's say instead of 323, that line should have been closer to, I don't know, $300. Is that $23 difference enough to make it so that you either land or don't land a $10,000 job?
Mm-mm.
So you're probably chasing your tail for nothing.
I feel like that happens a lot.
So again, I share with you guys things that I did. I'm not telling you to do them. I'm just showing you possibilities. And one of the possibilities is you go into your, again, you can't do it. You got to get Luke to do it. But he could go into his price list manager and he could change that line in the price list manager. And then you just don't bother with changing waste factors. Whatever comes in, it comes in, and you're going to be close enough.
A deviation for a second, Arlen. While you were in Mexico, doing some of the homework online, I couldn't get within 10% of any of the exercises.
You won't.
Hardwood.
You won't. You never will. The exercises that are in Floor U, they're not designed for you to come back to an exact number. They're designed for you to understand what the tablet does. And it used to be that every week I'd go back in and reprice and reprice and reprice because the product prices change so much. But then you realize, well, wait a minute, everybody's got a different labor price anyway, so you're never going to come back to the exact number.
Good to know. That was always way more expensive.
So the ones that I am concerned about, the ones that you have to do manual, the ones where I give you a spreadsheet and I tell you to just do them manual, you ought to be able to come up with those prices. You ought to be able to get really, really close to those prices because you're using everybody's using the same price list, whether it's right or wrong, I don't care. You're using the same price list. So you're going through the mechanics, but the ones where you're using your tablet to come up with a number, you're never going to be able to come up with that number.
Would have saved me some fingernails.
Oh, well, there you go. All right. So, and even these numbers, it doesn't make sense to compare one group to another group because you've got different people with different prices. What I will say is I'm looking for gapping, right? I look at room 1 and I say, is this a good gap? It's a little tight. It's not bad, but it's a little tight. It would be nice if there was a little bit bigger differentiation here, but that's okay. This was done backwards, but it's fine. This is a nice gap. If nothing else, I showed the customer $22,000 and then I show them 19, and there's a big difference between 22 and 19 in the customer's eyes because you got the power of the 9s there. And then I drop, it's another nice drop to get there. I come over here and I say, oh my gosh, I'm going from 25,000 to 20,000 and then from 20,000 to 13,000. Those are big drops. So if I show the customer a $25,000 price tag and the customer says, oh my God, there's no way I can spend 25,000. Okay, if I can go to a different option, I can get you to 20. If I can go to a different option, I can get you to 13. Those are big drops, right? Same thing down here, room 4. If I show them 17.7 and then 16, that doesn't really feel like a drop. Now the 16 to 10 is a big drop. But when I show a customer 17.7 and then I show them 16.2, that doesn't really feel like I've made a big drop. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's $1,500. But that's only a 10% drop. It's less than a 10% drop. So in the customer's eyes, I don't know that you've really shown them a different option. Does that make sense from a numbers perspective? Right? I show the customer a $17,000, $17,700 price tag, and they say, oh my God, that's way too much money. And then I show them 16,200. It doesn't really feel like I've done anything.
Well, see, Arlen, what you didn't realize is Jen and Jeff were so in tune with the customer that their budget was like 16,800. So they came up with two options to land it right, right near those. So I just wanted to share that with you to make sure you knew.
I appreciate that, Nate.
I just want Jeff to know that my PG3 is actually for all the hardwood is actually 16,931 with the carpet.
Oh, look at that.
So
all right. So
the benefit of doing all those changes.
That's right. I've got something for Nate. Just takes a minute for it to load.
I love it.
wait, is
Sorry,
that
Nate.
directed at me?
That's Nate. That's for his little story. All right, let's do one together. Let's get to my tablet. By the way, Nate, I asked Ryan about what you asked me right before the break. When you look at your InspireNet logo, is it a multicolored logo like this, or is it black and white? I'll let you unmute.
Rookie mistake. It's multicolored, exactly like that.
All right, so it should be the most recent thing. If I go back to, let's go back here. I'll come back in, it's fine. I've got version 2.0610.001.
Let's see here. Was that under File Manager?
It's just right here on the schedule screen.
On the schedule screen. All right.
Bottom left-hand corner.
I'm almost back there. Hang on. It's 2.0610.001.
Yeah. All right. So you've got the right version. I don't know what it's doing. I'll let them figure that out.
Yeah, I got a ticket out on it.
Good stuff. All right. So I drew the same rooms that you guys did, but I haven't put anything in them yet. So I still need to put my stuff in here, space info. I'm just going to leave it's standard furniture. I can put in my OSB. I'm not that concerned about the furniture at the moment. So if I were given this scenario, I think my initial reaction would be to build an option one that had all hardwood everywhere, because the customer, I mean, it sounds like that's really what they're looking for. And who knows, I might even throw an area rug in here. So if I set install info and I'm just going to pick a hardwood, and yeah, it's fine. I'll pick a PG3 hardwood. No problem with that. So we'll do a PG3 hardwood nail staple, good stuff. Then I can just install quarter round to the existing base. Who knows what's in here? But I've got a complete option. I've got a $16,770 price for all hardwood. And if I wanted to add an area rug, I could do it. Product type, let's come over here and do area rugs. And I don't even know what I'm looking for, but I'm just going to pick one so that I've got an area rug in here. Let's pick about $1,000 area rug. There's an 880. That's good. I don't even know what it is. Doesn't matter. No waste. Add the item. Boom. I've got an area rug in there. So with the area rug, I've got a total price for option one, all hardwood everywhere, of $17,600 for whatever that's worth, right? And please, let's not worry too much about the number itself, because this is, I'm using a test box for labor rates, and who knows, but this is my price for all hardwood. Now, if I add a new option, let's just create a new option. My living room and hallway, I'm gonna set my install info. We're gonna pick hardwood. Same thing, I'm just gonna use a PG3 hardwood until I can figure out exactly what I wanna do. And all that's fine. And then for the 2 bedrooms, set install info, and I'm gonna pick a carpet. And I do want to use the memory foam. I do want to use Courage because the customer said they wanted it soft and squishy and all that good stuff. So that's fine. But I'm just going to use a PG3 carpet because I don't know what I'm going to pick yet. So my option 2, and because I put carpet in the bedrooms, I don't really need the area rugs in the bedrooms. I still might put an area rug in the living room, who knows? But this is more of a, let's call it a hardwood and carpet option. Now carpet, that's not what I typed. Hardwood and carpet. All right, so now I've got 2 options. I've got one option that's all hardwood. I've got a second option that's hardwood and carpet. So now how about a third option? Create a new option, and this one, I'm gonna do laminate everywhere. Set install. Let's do a laminate. I'm good with all that. And again, I'm going to pick a PG3 laminate. Some of these laminates are actually pretty expensive. So I don't know where this is going to rank exactly, but I'm happy with that. Okay, good. So option 1, this is now my laminate option, but this is laminate everywhere. And I might create a 4th option even that gives me a laminate carpet option. Another way that I can do this is I can copy this laminate guy. And now this, on this option, now that I've got this highlighted, I can take the bedrooms, select the bedrooms, and remove those from the option. Select, remove bedrooms, and then click on the bedrooms again and set install info, carpet, memory foam, good stuff, PG3. And again, I'm not going to get that worked up over waste factors right this minute. I just want to see, without getting too crazy, what is this going to look like? Okay, so this is going to be laminate and carpet. And that's with PG3. I could obviously go in and create another one that had a PG2 or PG1 so that I could come to an even lower price. But at the moment, you know, I'm comfortable with showing the customer I've got a $17,000 option for hardwood. I've got a $13,700 option for hardwood carpet. I'd like to get that laminate carpet down a little bit more because the $13,700 to $11,500, it's $2,000. It's still a good drop. But if I could get it to 10 something, I think that would be even better. But nevertheless, this gives me 4 decent options to be able to go to the customer with. And how am I going to present this to the customer? Well, I'm going to show the customer hardwood. And I'm going to present the hardwood. I chose this product for you because you said you were looking for something that was a little darker, had some character in it, this and this and this. And the total price to do this option, you know, after I've done my product presentation, I mean, after I've done my company story, I've done my product presentation. So other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today? And oops, I went the wrong way. Other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today? So the total price for your project is $17,683. You got in touch with 3 of the people on my reference list. That gives you a total of $17,533. Financing options. So once your job's complete, would you be in a position to pay with a personal check or take advantage of one of the payment options? And the customer says, well, that's with all hardwood. What would it be if it was hardwood and carpet? Great. Well, let's take a look at that. So now I put the tablet away and I grab some carpet and I say, okay, let's leave the hardwood. We already picked the hardwood. Let's look at that. Now let's look at what carpet would look like in the bedrooms. So for this option, I can simply swipe across. The total price for your project would be $13,701. You got in touch with 3 of the people on my reference list. That gets you down to $13,551. Here's your payment options. For this option, would you be in a position to pay with a check or take advantage of one of the payment options? Okay, so see, I'm trying to not overwhelm the customer because I've got 4 options here. I could easily come up with a 5th option by dropping from a PG3 to a PG2 or something. I have no idea what the customer is going to choose. So when I present by the way, let's do this right. Let's do this right. I'm on this screen and the customer has no idea what I'm looking at, right? The customer doesn't see this screen. What the customer sees is me holding the tablet and saying, so is this the product that you absolutely love? And they say, yes, I love it. This is great. I said, okay, great. So hardwood. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to go back really, really fast. Let's see, for those of you that are more familiar with the product boards, what board would maybe you have pulled out to show me hardwood? What kind of looks and feels like I was asking for? Something a little darker, character, kind of scraped looking, a wider plank. Anything come to mind?
You could go with the American Scrape.
Yeah, there's the American Scrape. What else might be out there?
With the brazen oak.
Oh, brazen oak. Isn't that, but brazen oak is sort of, is that one textured or is that a smooth board?
It's brushed.
It's brushed. Okay. All right. So it's sort of a mix. Okay. Well, the one I might have fallen in love with, maybe I fell in love with Hamlin Hickory. I kind of like that board. It's got some heavy scraping in it. Okay. So let's go back. So at the moment, all right. So Jen, you're my customer. And I say, so Jen and everybody else, I'm going to talk to Jen, but everybody else can see my screen and you can see what I'm doing. Jen can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to talk to Jen, but you guys are going to see exactly what I'm doing in the tablet. Okay. Right. So Jen, this is the one that you love, right? This Hamlin Hickory, this is great. I love it.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Perfect. So Jen, do you have any other questions about what we would do or how we would complete this project?
Well, I'm not still convinced that I want to do hardwood everywhere.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. I promised you that we were going to look at some different options, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And we will absolutely do that. Before we grab the carpet though, let me just show you the price to do your project with all hardwood would be $16,521. All right, so time out.
Holy crap, Arlen.
How long did it take for me to change from PG3 to Hamlin Hickory?
That was very quick.
It's fast.
Yeah.
Right? It takes no time at all to jump back, change it from PG3 to Hamlin Hickory. Now I know that the price that I'm giving Jen is exactly the price for this board. I'm not worried about a PG3. Oh my gosh, is it the right number or not? The PG3 is there as a placeholder so that now Jen's not waiting for me to spend 10 minutes putting a proposal together. I've already put it together. All I have to do is hit the switch button, boom. Now we're switched, off you go. Okay, that's the beauty of that switch button. That's also the beauty of not being concerned about changing all these waste factors and stuff if I do it in the price list manager so that I'm not having to go back and, okay, when I made the change, did it change this? Did it change this? How many manual changes am I making? So I want to eliminate as many manual changes as I can so that she didn't even know anything was happening, right? It's just that fast. Okay, so Jen says, holy crap, 16 grand, there ain't no way I'm ever spending that much money. Hey, no problem. I promised you that we were also going to look at a carpet hardwood combination, right? So let's assume that we keep this hardwood in the living room and in the hallway. And now let's pick out a carpet you love.
Okay.
Okay, good. So now she picks out a carpet. Jen, have you got a favorite carpet?
I'm just going to make one up. Let's do that Alcott 2.
Alcott 2. Okay, great. So now we've picked Alcott 2. She's picked our favorite color. Same thing. I'm going to go back. Now I've got to do 2 changes. Oh, complete option. I come in here under the living room hallway. It still says PG3. I come down, I hit the switcheroo button, Hamlin Hickory in the burnt barnwood or whatever color it was, you'll notice now that change has been made. And I come down here to the carpet, same thing, but this time we're gonna put in the Alcott. And
Just
it's
one
the
T.
Alcott 1T. Alcott space 2. Perfect. I don't even know what bleached oak looks like. That must have been the color. Good. And now that one's changed. Good. I go back and now just that fast, I can come back to her and say, okay, so now you've fallen in love with the Hamlin Hickory Alcott Cove connection. I think these are going to look great together. So Jen, the price to do this project would be $11,117. You got a hold of 3 of the people on the reference list, $150 off. That's $10,967. So with this option, would you be in a position to pay with a check or take advantage of one of the payment options? And now I'm rolling right into the close. Okay. And it literally is that fast to change from one product to the next. And that way, that's why when I'm in step 3 and I'm putting together my rough draft prices, I'm not worried about the exact product yet, because I know I'm putting in a placeholder. And then I'm going to come back and fill that placeholder with the actual product that she picked. Does that make sense?
It
Okay.
does. My question for you is just that in practicality, like you didn't seam the carpet, the waste factors are all off. So I would never just hit that change button and be like, this is the price, because there's so much. I mean, that's still, I mean, it's going to be higher. So I guess if they go with it, then you're cool, right? You're just charging them waste factor and everything.
Let's just see. So let's go in here. Because I want to address this. So freight, I need to double check the freight for sure, because freight is always wrong.
Yeah.
Underlayment, I'm not worried about because I need the 10% waste anyway, quarter round, fine. Installation price. So in my price list, I have my labor rate 10% lower than what I actually pay the installer. So I'm not worried about it. So okay, this is not my price list. This is the test box. But let's say that I'm gonna actually pay this installer like $1.85 or even $1.90. Okay, I'm not doing the math well in my head right away. So if I take the 175 and I add 10% to 175, that's 17.5 cents. That gets me pretty close to, that's almost 20 cents. That gets me pretty close to a 195 number, right? So it might be that that my installer wants $1.95 to install this. No problem. I'm charging the customer. What am I charging the customer? 175 times 10%. Right? I'm charging the customer an added 10%. So the math works either way. That's great. I don't worry about it because I know that I have my price list reduced by the 10% that I know the tablet's going to throw in here. Then I don't have to worry about it. Standard furniture move, same thing. I reduce it by 10%. Removal and haul away, I reduce it by 10%. Install quarter round, I reduce it by 10%. And install transitions, my installer doesn't charge me to install transitions. My installer says it's part of the job. Well, I know that every time I put a doorway in, it puts in this install transition piece. So what did I do? What is my cost to install transition? What do you see on the screen?
12 cents.
Well, it's a penny a piece. Right? It's a penny a piece. So what am I doing? I'm still showing on the proposal install transition, but I'm not actually charging the customer for it. I can't put a 0, so a penny is as close as I can get. Right? Same thing down here. All these things, the freight is the one thing that I would just want to double check, but everything else in here, I just retard the price list by 10% so that I know when it comes in here, I'm ready to go. Now, in terms of seaming, okay, I get it. In terms of seaming, I get it. So in this case, I took a seaming factor. This has a nominal waste factor of 20% for this carpet. 20%, and I've got a price of $10.9. So let's seam it. All right, this is a good one. So it dropped it down to 11, but I went from a 10.9 to a 10.7. if I can't land this job over, if I can't land a $10,000 job over 200 bucks, it's not the 200 bucks. It's my ability as a salesperson. It's just fact. I mean, it is what it is. So sure, I overcharged the customer by 200 bucks. Okay, but on a $10,000 job, it's a decimal point. Now, you've got to sit down with Luke and have that conversation with Luke, because I can't tell Luke how to price his stuff. And that's not the point of this conversation. The point of this conversation is just to show some possibilities, right? And it makes that a whole lot faster at the end, rather than sitting on the couch going, okay, wait a minute, I need 10 minutes to sort my stuff out before I show you a price.
Well, and it all boils down to, if you're getting them to sign on the spot, then it doesn't matter. And if you're pricing over, then that's fine. And if they want to see options, then you can email them later, and then you could take the time to hone in on it, and it's an even little better price than what you just presented. So I guess that's a win-win.
Now, I don't want to be way over. If this is $1,000 over, then I have a problem. Right. But if it's a couple $100 on a $10,000 job, look, that's not what kept me from landing this job. That's my ability to sell. That's the way I look at it anyway. Now, when we get to step 6 and we're presenting product, and this gets back to where we started today. Let's get back here for just a moment. Things. Okay. So in step 2, your customer told you, I want a dark floor character. I might want carpet in the bedroom, whatever, right? That's what I got out of this. Now, when I get to step 6, it's, I chose this product for you because you said you were looking for whatever it is, X, Y, and Z. I chose this combination of products for you because you said you were looking for a hardwood floor, or something that looked like a hardwood floor in the living room and the hallway, and you wanted a carpet in the bedrooms. Okay, great, that's what I said. Or I chose this product specifically for you because you were concerned about the high traffic in the hallway, right? So my point is, whatever you heard here is what you say here. You're simply repeating the customer's words back to them. And if you've done a really good job of listening here, you should be able to come up with 3 options. You ought to be able to come up with 3 options that are logical, and you have a reason for your strategy. So you're telling the customer, I chose this option for you because of this. They say, oh my God, 16 grand, I can't do that. Okay, no worries. I have another option for you, which I picked because you said this. Every time I change it, I want to come back to what the customer said. It's always back to what the customer said. That way they know you're there to try to help them. You're not there just trying to sell something. You're there to help solve their problem. Questions on any of this?
So we don't have options prepared.
Go ahead.
They throw, so in the last example, right, it was actually, can't remember who it was it Jenny? Anyway, said, like, suggested, the carpet in the bedrooms and the hardwood, right, in the hall and the living room. What if that's an option that you didn't prepare? How do you pivot on that one?
I guess I'm going to go put one together.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I mean, If, you know, it might be that the customer comes back, maybe I've put together these 3 options and the customer comes back and says, yeah, but I don't really like this. I don't like that. Okay, then I'm going to pivot.
So you take the time and you go recreate it, right? So there's some
Sure.
dead space. Okay.
Sure. Yep. There's going to be times when you come into the house and you pick boards and you really thought this is what they were looking for, and they look at that and say, I don't like any of that. Okay. No problem. Let me go try again. That's okay. I mean, how many batters hit the ball on the first pitch? Not many. It's okay. You can still have a great batting average even if you don't hit the first pitch. That's fine.
Hey, so I have a question, you know, as I was just following you along, how fast you were switching the different products out just to adjust pricing. I just asked myself as the customer, obviously, I don't really see what you're doing, but in the end, we still have to then pull out new samples and show that to them. Isn't there a point where I follow the option 1, option 2, option 3 because that's prepared ahead of time, but now we're doing last minute changes. Now I have to show them a new sample.
No. I'm not changing. Okay, good. That's good. So I created option 1 and I just used PG3 in my estimate, right? I just created just to have something in there. Okay. Now I've gone out to the van. Now I've pulled actual product boards. Now the customer has said, this is the one that I love. So what is the change that I'm making? I'm taking the PG3 out and I'm putting in the one that they loved. I'm not picking something random. You know, Jen said she loved Hamlin Hickory. So now I'm just making the change. I'm taking PG3 out and I'm putting Hamlin Hickory in. That's it.
Okay, I thought maybe since when Jen objects and says, oh my gosh, this is way too expensive, you're switching from a PG3 product to, you're still sticking to hardwood floor, but you're switching from PG3 to PG2.
Okay, so if your strategy was instead of a PG3, I mean, instead of doing like hardwood and carpet, my strategy is going to be a PG3, PG2, PG1. Well, then I have 3 options built. Option 1, PG3. Now I've already taken that option and I've made it Hamlin Hickory. So now I'm going to go to option 2, which maybe has a PG2 board in it. Okay. Maybe PG2 is what's in there. Now Jen falls in love with something else. What was the one you said, Jen, that's a brushed, what was it?
What was that?
Blazing oak, blazing oak?
Yeah, brazen.
Brazen oak.
Brazen oak.
I'm not sure if it's a PG2 or not, but I'm going to say it is. Okay, so now my option 2, I swap out PG2 for brazen oak. I don't really want to go back to option 1 and change it. And the reason that I don't want to go back and change it is because, you know, maybe this one was 16K, maybe this one was 13K. I don't know. I'm making that up. Okay. But she looks at the brazen oak and she says, yeah, I like it, but I actually like the Hamlin Hickory one better. Can we go back to that one? So once I've shown her a price, once I've actually shown her this price, I don't want to change that option again. I want to leave it locked in. If I'm going to make a change, I'm going to make a change to another option. If I need another option, maybe I copy this option and change the copy, but I don't want to change this one again. Because what you're going to find is, let's say that this was exactly $16,178.16. That's exactly what it was. Now I've changed it and I came back and changed it back. And now all of a sudden it's $16,193.12. And Jen's pretty sharp. And she picks up on the fact that that number is not the same as it was a minute ago. right? When you changed it and changed it back, there was some little waste factor that rounded differently or something happened. And so it's not exactly the same. So as a general principle, once I show the customer a price, I'm going to lock that option and I'm not going to change it again. Now, if I want to make a change, I can copy it, I can do other things, but I'm not going to change that option again. Does that make sense, Robin?
So in the end, what you're saying is prepare option 1, 2, and 3 and stick to them and not start fine tuning and come up with multiple.
Well, you still might come up with an option.
What can I do to not overwhelm the customer? Does that make sense?
Yeah, good point. I don't want to overwhelm them. Option 1, we picked a board, we showed a price, she said it was too much. I went back to option 2, we picked a board. Now I've in the tablet, I've swapped it out, not on option 1, on option 2, and now I'm showing them the price for option 2.
Okay.
Arlen, out of curiosity, about how many options is the most you've ever done in a house?
I don't know, I've probably done 9 or 10 options, but not actually shown the customer 9 or 10 options. Okay, so you have the customer that's like, well, upstairs, I might want to do hardwood or carpet, or maybe even laminate. Downstairs, I might want to do this or this or this. Down here, I might want to do this or this or this. So it might be that I've prepared 8 or 9 options, but I'm not showing the customer 8 or 9 options. Once I start presenting product and I start showing them to the customer, now in my head, I'm starting to eliminate things. Okay, we're not doing that, we're not doing that, we're not doing that. Because if I show the customer 9 prices, they're never making a decision.
Exactly.
Right? Then the Empire guy is going to be right behind me. He's going to come in and say, I have 2 boards. Which one do you want? Oh, this is simple. Done. I'll take that one. It's very easy to overwhelm somebody.
I was thinking it might go the opposite direction where they just keep on asking for different products. Be like, oh, no, price this one out. No, oh, maybe I want this, right? And that kind of stuff. So
that's where you have to be in control of the appointment. You are walking the customer down a decision path.
Makes sense.
Jeff, did you have a comment? I thought I saw your box slide up.
I do. Mr. Linear here. I just want to understand it from the graph. So we've gone through the company story. We've done the installation presentation. We're now at the product presentation. We've concluded that, and the customer either didn't object or is asking for something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so you didn't push back. You didn't even need to put something into the PG3 box because they wanted to see something else. So you've swept back to step 6, to the start of step 6.
All right. So step 2, step 3, I create an option 1.
Yep.
2 and 3, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And those are all PG.
And these are at this moment, these are PGs.
Right.
Okay. Now, step 6, we actually decide that option 1 is going to be something specific, right? So option 1 is now, get a different color. Make a mess here. Option 1 is now Hamlin Hickory. Okay. So when I get to step 7, and I'm asking the pre-close question, it gives me 30 seconds to make the change. So this is when I'm actually swapping PG3 and I'm putting in Hamlin Hickory. I show the customer the price and I walk through the walk of life. She says, oh my gosh, 16,000, that's way too much. Well, Jen, how much did you think a project like this would be? I don't know, maybe 12 grand. Well, now that you see what we do and how we do it, and we're putting hardwood in all 4 rooms, can you see why this is more than you thought it was going to be? Well, I'm comparing you to somebody that did carpet in the bedrooms. Okay, well, let me ask you, how long do you think it would take for you to come up with the rest of the money? Well, that's just it. I mean, 16,000, I just don't know that I'm comfortable spending that much. Okay, great. you wanted to see something where we had hardwood in the 2 rooms and then carpet in the bedrooms. So let's leave this hardwood in these rooms and let's pick out a carpet for the bedrooms. Okay, so what have I done? Now I've moved from here back to step 6. And in this particular case, I'm going to leave the same hardwood for the 2 rooms. And what are we going to do in step 6? We're going to pick out a carpet. So I get to step 7. Now I'm on option 2. What do I need to do? I've got to swap PG3 hardwood has got to go to Hamlin Hickory, and whatever the carpet was, I've got to fit in. She said Alcott, so I got to put Alcott in for the carpet. And now I present price for those 2. So here's the price for this: $10,000 to do the hardwood in these 2 rooms and the carpet in these 2 rooms. How does this price make you feel? Well, that's okay, but it's still a little higher than what I wanted to do. Okay, let's take a look at another option. Okay, what is my 3rd option going to look like? Well, now at this point, I might even have to do this on the fly. At this point, I'm like, you know what? I need to do laminate in the living room and the hallway, and I need to do a cheaper carpet in the bedroom. Okay, so we go and we pick out a laminate, and we might even go from the Alcott 2 to the Alcott 1 or something. And now I'm bringing the price down by changing the product again, and I work back through to step 8. What do you think about this price? This one's $8,000. Okay, $8,000 I can deal with. $8,000. Good. Welcome to the Floor Coverings International family. Does that help?
Yep.
It does, but it brings up a nuance.
Yep.
When do you know when to introduce alternative options versus going to payment options?
I've gone through the walk of life.
Okay.
The walk of life tells me that, right? So the walk of life, question number 1, how much did you think this was going to be? Well, now that you see, sorry,
can you role play that for me? Because out of everything we're doing this week, that's the one I am struggling with the most. How that organically happens and how you organically do that. Because to me, it's one of the ones I'm struggling with across the board.
Okay. All right, we'll just use this. Wrong button. Okay, Amy, you're my customer. You got to be nice.
Okay.
You got to be nice, but you got to say no. All right, so that's okay. All right.
Okay.
So you don't see my tablet yet. Okay, you don't see it yet.
Okay.
So Amy, the Hamlin Hickory, this is the one that you absolutely love?
Yep, absolutely.
Great. I think this is going to look great in your home. Do you have any questions about what we would do or how we would do it? Anything about the install?
Yeah, how are you going to move my fish tank?
So we're going to get your help with that. Remember, we talked about during the installation that we don't mind moving it, but we've got to get the water level out of it, right? So you're going to have to move the fish. We're happy to move the furniture as long as there's no water in the tank.
Okay, that'll work.
Okay. All right. Now, while Amy's been doing that, I've been doing my magic, and I've gone back and I've made my little swap. Okay, so we've already done that. That's good. Wrong button. Let's go forward. Here we go. All right. So Amy, I have a question for you. She still doesn't see the tablet yet. Other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today?
Not really, just comes down to the price.
Okay, well, look, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to help you get the floors that you love and deserve. All right.
Okay.
I open this up, I turn the tablet so she can see it. So Amy, the total retail price for your project, and this includes doing the hardwood in all 4 rooms, finishing with trim, everything we talked about, moving the fish tank, the whole 9 yards, everything's in here, The total retail price is $16,521. Now, you were able to get in touch with 3 of the people on the reference list. And that's great because that gives you $150 off this project. And that brings your total down to just $16,371. I never know how people want to invest in their home. So I took the liberty of putting together some payment options. 24 months would be $778 a month. 36 months is just $551, and 48 months would be $439 a month. So once we're complete, your job's complete, you're 100% satisfied. Would you be in a position to pay with a personal check, or would you want to take advantage of one of the payment options?
Honestly, Arlen, that's really a lot more money than I thought we were going to spend, and I just don't see how we can do that.
Okay, all right, I get it. It sounds like this is more than you expected.
It is, by quite a bit.
Okay, well, how much did you think a job like this would cost?
No, it's a bigger room, but it's not huge. I was thinking more closer to 10 or 12.
Okay, all right, so 10 or 12,000. Well, now that you see what we do, you see how we do it, you see the quality of the hardwood that we use and how we're going to put it in all 4 rooms. Can you see why this is more than you thought it would be?
I can. I'm just still struggling with that price.
Okay, I understand completely. And if you don't mind me asking, how long do you think it would take for you to come up with the rest of the money?
Well, we'd have to wait till Rex's bonus got paid, and that's not till next March.
Okay, so next March. All right, well, I'll tell you what, I've got a great option for you. If you're interested, we can go ahead and get this floor done within the next couple of weeks. And that way you can enjoy the floor through the rest of the summer. You'll have it all during the fall. I know you are really interested in having this done before you got into the fall activities and family coming and everything. And I can set this up so that you don't have to pay a dime on this until July of 2024. That would work for you, won't it?
Now I have a hard time saying no, so yeah.
Okay, so what'd you do? You told me that you could do it in March.
I did.
I solved the problem.
Yep.
All right, now you still might say, yeah, we could do that, but you know, I don't feel comfortable spending $16,000. Okay, well, look, remember, this was for doing hardwood in all 4 of the rooms. So let's take a look at an option where we do hardwood in the living room and the hallway, and we do carpet in the other 2 bedrooms. Okay, so now what do? We get the carpet samples out. Amy runs her fingers through the carpet. Everything's happy, happy, happy. I do the change to take the PG2 out and or the PG3 out and put the actual carpet in. And now we're sitting back down at the table to look at the price. All right, so Amy, for this option, where we've got the 2 rooms in hardwood and the 2 rooms in carpet, for this option, the total retail price is $10,908. You still get the same 3 reference list discount of $150, and that brings your total down to just $758. Once again, there's payment options available. 24 months is $511 a month. 36 months is just $362, and 48 months is $288. So with this option, when we're all complete, would you feel more comfortable paying with a check or taking advantage of one of the payment options?
I like that no payments till July. Can we still do that?
Absolutely. Hey, welcome to the Floor Coverings International family. I sold her twice. And she was supposed to say no. All right. So how does that feel, Amy? Does it feel pushy?
No, it doesn't. And that's one of the, I don't know about everybody else, but that's one of the, when I read it, it reads like it's really pushy.
Sure it does, because you're reading it in isolation. Right? You read it in isolation, it does look that way. You look at it all by itself and it feels pushy. It's not. It is very organic. It is very organic. I am not a pushy person. I'm not interested in being a pushy salesperson. This does not come across as pushy at all.
That didn't. So,
thanks. I'm a little confused on when you told them, okay, you won't have to pay a dime until July. How does that work?
How does it work? I have a finance company that offers 12 months, same as cash. Now, we're gonna, if she says, yes, let's absolutely go through with this, let's do it. I'm like, okay, Amy, is there some money that you would want to put as a down payment on this? I'm not gonna force it. Here's the thing, as a business owner, I feel much safer with financing options than I do waiting for her to come up with a check. I would much rather finance it. And the reason, I know it costs money to finance, but the reason I would much rather finance it is because let's say that she pays me 50% now and she's gonna pay me 50% when we're done. Well, a lot of things can happen between now and then. So she pays me the 50% now, I have that money. We get the job done and she loves the job, but you know what, Arlen, I just lost my job. I don't know. I mean, I have the money, but I'm a little concerned about what's going to happen. Can you give me another month to pay? Can you give me another 2 months to pay? Now, what do I have to do? Now I've got to become the collections agent. I don't want to be a collections agent.
Arlen, our franchise is dealing with almost that exact scenario. $12,000 job, got 50% up front. And basically now the customer said that they are not in a position to pay the balance and can't pay the balance. So we're obviously having to work through that process, but literally $6,000, where if we financed it, that would have been protected.
That's it. So maybe I took maybe I got a 50% down payment. Maybe I didn't. I don't care. 12 grand job and we finance the whole thing, 12 months, same as cash. That's not coming out of my pocket. There's a finance company that's on the hook for that. So as soon as the job is finished, the finance company calls Amy. Did they do the job? Yes, they did the job. Good deal. Now the finance company pays me and the finance company can squeeze that cheap Amy out of the money that she owes. I'm not worried about it. And that to me is worth whatever, if it's 3, 4, 5%, it's worth it to me to pay that so that I don't have to worry about it in the end.
Arlen, I have a quick question. When we're heading back and forth with the options, and then going quickly to throw a different product in, when is it where when you make changes, they don't come into an effect in the actual tablet? Because I keep getting that notice that pops up. Any changes, anything you do from here on out won't update properly, and that keeps throwing me off.
Okay, so if I go back in the tablet, if I'm on this screen where I've got the colored boxes, I don't get that message. Okay. It's when I go back to the drawing screen that I get the message. Okay. So if I go back from here, let's say I go back one more. Now I get this scary message that says that if I make changes, that it's going to reset all my options, right? And it's going to tell me, it's going to give it to me 4 times because I got 4 options. Well, this is why it does that. Let's say I were to go into this living room and instead of it being 20'8", I go in here and change it to 21.5. Well, I've changed the square footage. Of course, the options are going to reset because the tablet's like glue. You have changed the square footage of this drawing. You need to think through this again. That's why it resets. It resets on purpose because you've made a material change to the drawing. If you're on this screen with the colored boxes, you're on this screen, you don't get that message. You can change whatever you want to on this screen and it's not going to affect any other option.
Okay, so you can change it back and forth all you want. You can present it. You can go back and change it. You would never want to do it after you obviously got the sale, but if you wanted to, you could go back in and keep making changes.
Well, and I suggest don't make a change to an option after you've shown them the price. So I showed Jen this carpet hardwood price of $10,700. Okay, I've shown her that price, but now I'm going to pick a different hardwood and I'm going to pick a different carpet. So I don't want to go in and change that one. I've already shown her that price. So what am I going to do? Underneath that button, you see there's a trash can and there's a copy button. Let's click on the copy button. Now I have another copy of the same thing. I can go in and change that one. I'm not changing the one that I already showed her. So this is going to be hardwood carpet 2. Now, if I go in here and change it, complete option, I'm going to take Hamlin out and I'm going to put in Brazen Oak. Watch it be more expensive. Brazen, well, brazen hickory, okay, good deal. Brazen hickory, what'd it do? Yeah, that's a little less. And now for the carpet, I'm gonna change my carpet. Oops, wrong button. Ah, come on, fingers. I'm gonna hit the right button this time. And oh, for the bedrooms, hit the little switcheroo button. And this time, I'm gonna do diligent. I know it's an inexpensive carpet. Diligent, good. And it's still about the same. Because Alcott's not that expensive. Anyway, I can go in and I can change that now. And when I go back, you can see that actually these two, this is a good example. It's only $200 apart. So the original hardwood carpet and now the hardwood carpet too, they're only $200 apart. We picked a different carpet, we picked a different hardwood. Okay, that's fine. But I have preserved the original number that I showed her. So if I need to go back to that option, I can.
Gotcha.
Hey,
Thanks.
Arlen, quick question on like the technology aspect. When I go in to choose the specific floor, like not all of them are display. Like when I search for brazen oak, for instance, it doesn't come up, but it's in my product selector. Like I can see it in the product selector. Like if I go click on product selector outside of the proposal, inside the proposal, like it doesn't search individual products.
When you see it in the product selector on the tablet?
Yeah.
Okay, then I would say you might be misspelling it when you're putting it in when you're searching for it.
No, like there's like only like half of the products are like not in my proposal section, but they're all in my product selector outside of the proposal.
Okay, so when you're here next week, let's make sure that we get that resolved.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions?
I do have one other question, just because my Mohawk EDI feed's not fixed yet. How do you, if you have something like that that's not pulling, do you just have a spreadsheet on your tablet or something that tells you what the cost is so you can just drop it in?
Yep. So I would come in here, let's complete option. And instead of brazen, hickory, compass, whatever, maybe this is a Mohawk hardwood. I'm going to click this little pencil. I'm going to come up here. Now it's not going to change the code number. I can't change that, but I can come in here and I can just change the description and say Mohawk, blah, 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 whatever it is, right? And then I can come over to the price. What is my cost? Well, my cost on that is $2.98. Making stuff up, right? Now, I hit the little enter button and it has taken the change. Again, it doesn't change the code. So I have to be careful that I don't go back to the office and order FD 222, but I actually order what that description is.
Okay.
Good. Anything else, guys? All right, I'm going to let you guys take off so you can get to your evaluations, appointments, all that good stuff. This was good today. I thought it was good. Maybe you did too. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. We'll see in the survey. But I will, I'm looking forward to reading your stuff again. And by the time we see each other, I will have reset all this back at my home office. So I got to move all this stuff tonight. And let's, we'll have fun with this tomorrow. Good stuff, guys. Good work today. Thanks.
Thanks, Arlen.
See you tomorrow.